Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexiot's here. It is Tuesday, Classic Tuesday Trivia, Classic Jurassic Tuesday Trivia, Raptor Freaks. And yes, our subject today is the oak tree. Mr. Oak, Mr. Charles Oakley. Yes, we have to get at least a couple more of these Classic Jurassics in before the season. And I want to do Oakley. This month we've done Kawhi, we've done, who did we do last week? We did Surge. We did Kevin Willis, and now we're going to do Charles Oakley this week. And yesterday, very crazy busy day with Media Day. And of course, I focused a lot on the Toronto Media Day stuff, but there was Media Day for a lot of the other teams, the NBA yesterday, and a lot of interesting stuff happening at other media days other than ours. In fact, I want to take this opportunity to really talk about how grateful I am to be a Raptors fan. That sometimes you just got to take a time in your life to admire and be grateful and have gratitude towards good things in your life, because being a Raptors fan is much better than being a fan of a lot of other teams in this league. Let's just put it that way. We've heard Skater Dylan, a regular on this channel, talk as a Boston Celtics fan this week about coming to our stand and standing with us on the Toronto Raptors side, just because of all the dysfunction, ugliness, negativity, and weird confusion around the Boston Celtics at this time. And in fact, their media day very much reflected these kind of things. Like, these players came in and they looked a little shook, a little confused, and I'm not so certain about what their season's going to be like. This is not what you want. Starting training camp. This is not what you want going into your season. And you saw a similar thing with the Phoenix Suns players yesterday at their media day also. There is a cloud hanging over their franchise from Robert Sarver. And also DeAndre Ayton was very interesting with some of the questions about like him being there still. You could look at the Nets and their press conferences. Both Kyrie and Kevin do not sound like they're totally happy campers being in Brooklyn again for this season. In fact, Kevin is describing himself as being very old for an NBA player. And that's me signaling to me that he is worried about the time running out on the hourglass for his career. And that he didn't want to jerk around with a messed up team in Brooklyn again for another season. He really did want to get away. But he said, "Oh, I know you guys really value me and you wouldn't give me away for nothing." And I guess that's a compliment. That is really hollow words about being happy there. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot said at media day by guys and the way they act and the way things are. I love that Kyle said he didn't even hear Pat Riley's comment about him needing to lose weight this summer. He said he didn't even hear it. Oh, did he say that? I didn't even hear that. Hilarious. Kyle Lowry, you are a badass. And, you have selective hearing. Obviously. Naco the Nachos here. Scotty's arms are huge. I'm also really happy Bobby said he sees MVP potential on this team. Bobby, when did Bobby talk? I didn't see Bobby speak yesterday. Is he going to talk today? Something like that. Scotty is looking really tough and big. There's a couple of notes about what Scotty said at Media Day yesterday. I really love the interviews that Kayla Gray was doing for the shift afterwards. She got Scotty at one moment, and she was asking Scotty, where do you learn all this Toronto slang? How do you know all these words? Well, we know because on this Raptor Freak channel, we've figured it out and done the research, and we could have told Kayla. It's basically because of his teammate, Caleb Houston from Mount Verde High School. When he was going there, he was very close friends with Caleb, who's from Mississauga. And he was talking to him all about living in Mississauga and telling him all about this stuff. Not to mention Scotty's got family here in Canada. But when Kayla came to him and said, "What's it? You are from Scarborough because of the way you're saying things. You sound like you're from," and Scotty said, No, I'm claiming Mississauga. And it's purely because of Caleb Houston. Caleb Houston is a Mississauga man, and Scotty wants to get on that train and be there with one of his best friends. So that is why Scotty claimed Mississauga, guys. It's because of Houston. So, yeah, very interesting. He talked with Tim and friends. Oh, okay. I didn't see that interview. Okay, I might have to check that out. Thanks for the heads up, Naco. Hey, everybody. It's Monique, Superfan Lawrence. Good to see Monique. We got our trivia today for Charles Oakley. I'll do a little bit more news and notes, and we'll get right into it. Last night, this morning, Team Canada women's basketball team in Australia won their game against Mali. It was actually pretty good, like beat down. Like they did not let them, they had them doubled up by halftime pretty much, and they didn't let up. Now they lost to Australia yesterday in their third game of this tournament. So they actually have one loss. They're 3-1. And so is Australia. Australia's 3-1 also, but Australia beat Canada in head to head. So Australia is the number one seed going into the quarterfinals now. Now, Blake Murphy is reporting that Canada will likely play Belgium in the quarterfinals on Thursday. So it's looking like Australia is going to be in that quarterfinals also. And they're obviously the big obstacle in the way of Canada winning this. So they got to win against supposedly Belgium on Thursday, and then it's likely if they get past that game, they'll be playing against Australia again in the finals. Now, when they played Australia on Sunday, they did really well, and they kind of kicked their butt, but Australia came back and won at the end, and they only lost by 3 points. So if they play them again in the finals, expect a good fight. And it'll be really, really good. It's a great job by all the women in Canada right now. Bridget Carlton, Kia Nurse, and everybody down there. You guys are representing Canada very, very well right now, and we really appreciate it. Jalen Harris has signed with the Knicks. This actually happened a couple of days ago. I should have said something yesterday, but yesterday was such a buzz with the media day and stuff like that. I didn't really mention it. But yes, Jalen Harris has been signed to the New York Knicks. And I'm pretty sure it's a non-guarantee. He's in a kind of similar situation to maybe Josh Jackson, where he's trying to make their team in training camp. And there's no guarantees for him. But it'll be interesting to see. Once again, I'm not that upset about this. I know certain people that watch this channel will be. I'm sorry, Paul. But this is just how it is. It's the NBA. It's a business. We couldn't keep all of the people that, necessarily that we wanted possibly. But, Jalen had his window of chance and it got kind of screwed up. So, there's Paul B. He's devastated. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Paul. But who knows? Who knows what could happen? We kind of want to wish him the best and get him on that team and stuff like that. But we'll have to see. G saying no Cam or Malachi at Media Day. There weren't any images. We didn't see any of them, but I'm sure they were there. It's just that we're not seeing that stuff. Last year, this was similar with Cam. We didn't see any of Cam for like a month going into the season. We were also worried then. I was more worried then about him and what was going on with him with the team because we didn't see him for a while. And he had coronavirus. And that was part of the reason why we didn't see him. I don't think it's anything like that. And I think both those guys were there. It's just that we didn't happen to get any content with them involved. We got to remember there's like 20 of those guys there, and catching all of them in the net and putting them all on blast like they did yesterday is really tough. And Kem's kind of guy that kind of stands in the shadows and doesn't really want to get in the spotlight anyway. Now, Malachi, I wouldn't read into this too much. I'm sure there's pictures and all kinds of stuff with them. It's just we didn't see them because they didn't get posted or anything like that. But there's really interesting little segment they did about the zombie apocalypse. Like, who would you take with you if there was a zombie apocalypse? They're asking the players when they're coming in. Scotty first says, I wouldn't take anyone. I just run. And that's really because of that Friday the 13th game that he played this summer at 1 a.m. on a Friday night. And he was trying to escape Jason off the island. And his friends got in the boat and took off in the boat without him. Well, that was a learning lesson for Scotty. So he knows that if there's a zombie apocalypse, he's just going on his own. But the answers were very telling. It kind of shows you who has friendships with who and who really looks out for each other and stuff like that. Delano and Justin both picking each other. Otto Porter picked Scotty Barnes, which was very interesting. Thad picked Fred Van Vleet because he's like, he's an old head like me. And, we might need to stick together. I know he's on the same level with me. Some of the young guys picking, and Josh Jackson, really kind of sad what he said. And I really don't want to read into it too much, but he may be saying that he already understands he's not going to make this team. Because he said when he got asked that question, he's already dead. And I don't like hearing that from him. And I know he said it kind of jokingly, but it is true. He's in an odd man out kind of situation, looking on the outside from looking inside from the outside as far as with this roster. He does not have that many bonds with many people on this team. And he really does have to do a lot to try and make this team. So that was kind of sad to me. I didn't like hearing that. about from Josh Jackson saying that I'm already dead or I'm dead. I'm like, I don't like seeing that. I don't like seeing that. Paul B saying he's rooting for Jalen sanity, for a Jalen sanity moment in New York and New York Knicks land. Yeah, it could be interesting. We're talking a little bit about New York Knicks today with Charles Oakley. Tom Duke's here. At least he gets a shot. Good morning. Good morning to Raptor Freak Tom Duke out on the West Coast. Evelyn's here. Good to see Raptor Freak Evelyn. What might be the reasons why it was not posted? Good day, y'all. I think, like I said, Evelyn, there's just so much that these guys just weren't like brimming or getting their stuff put up. I don't think that we should read into this at all. There's 20 guys. It's hard to get every single one of them up there. I'm just happy we saw Gabe Brown and Josh Jackson and DJ Wilson and those guys in that little bit of time, because we weren't going to see them at all at Media Day. There's so much more that happens at Media Day that we don't see besides the interviews and stuff like that. They go in there and take all the pictures and do all the stuff for the channels like Sportsnet and TSN, and have, how the graphics when the intros and outros during the season, they're taking all that stuff yesterday and taking the pictures of the players for their player profiles on NBA.com and on the website and stuff like that. So there's a lot that goes on at Media Day that we don't actually see. And they did get on the plane and fly to BC yesterday afternoon after Media Day. That's why they were kind of done around 3 o'clock or so. So they flew out there. And this is really smart that the Raptors do a West Coast trip for training camp, because the time changed. These guys can sleep and they'll get up and they'll be like, whoa, it's way earlier, because we're used to East Coast time and they're on the West Coast now. So that means they can get up even earlier to practice even earlier, because they're on our time, at least in their body right now. But we'll see how they adjust over the week and stuff like that. So Monique saying, saw Bobby Webster interview with Tim McAuliffe. No, I didn't see it, but Nako was talking about it earlier just now. Now, I did see one thing on the Instagram last night I didn't like. And he's just, because he's walking with a nice bag and kind of dressed nicely. He's kind of bullying a bully once again. And I don't understand why Justin does this and puts it on blast. You really shouldn't do this. This is a bad look for Raptors Nation. Maybe people in New York will enjoy that kind of like stuff. And some Raptor fans may too, because they're trolls. But not me. I think that what you're doing really reflects poorly on your character and stuff like that. DJ Wilson's not a rookie. He's not somebody who has to carry a Dora the Explorer backpack. He is a vet. He's been in this league for a while. And, that's unbecoming of him. Once again, I'm just going to say, Justin, you're not winning a fan in me, because you really look like a bully. And I love that Ron Harper sunned Justin during his Media Day. What's turnabout is all fair play. You can get sunned back. And I love that Ron Harper's battling back with his sunning. So, all right, we got 15 people in here. Let's get into the trivia. Today is Charles Oakley, guys. I have a fun Charles Oakley story. There was one day 23 years ago that Stevie Roots and I got off work at the Air Canada Center, and we were trying to catch a cab at the southeast corner of the Air Canada Center. And I look over and there's Charles Oakley standing next to us on the curb trying to get a cab too. Well, who do you think the cabs picked up? Because we were all fighting for cabs. They picked up Charles over us. But I thought that was kind of fun and interesting. This was after a game late. Like this may be around 11 p.m. or so. And trying to hail a cab over Charles Oakley, you will lose, because he's 6'9" and he's very tall, and he gets the cab. So that's my little story about me and Charles and my interaction with him in real life. I was standing about 10 feet away from him, and I didn't say anything to him. He was with Jason Williams of the Nets, the guy who shot his limo driver and went to jail for manslaughter. It was these two big center power forwards for the league, and we didn't want to talk to them. Charles is somebody I wouldn't approach in some ways, just because. But all right, let's get into the trivia, guys. I hope you guys are ready. I know the regulars are here; they're just being silent. And let's go. Let's go. All right. First question is the usual one. What is Charles Oakley's middle name, y'all? What is Charles Oakley's middle name? Jane Waters, thank you for promoting me on the Raptors stream yesterday. I went back and saw the stream, and I saw a lot of Raptor freaks in there representing the Raptor freak cult and shouting us out and stuff like that. That was awesome. I love to see that. Glad to see that. So what is Charles Oakley's middle name, guys? This is an interesting one. This is an interesting one. I want to see who gets this. What is Charles Oakley's middle name? Brown? Raymond Jacob? No, that's not right. Charlie Brown Oakley. I kind of like that, Raymond Jacob. I know where you're going with that. A little bit of Peanuts humor here. Charlie Brown Oakley. Charlie Brown plays for the Sixers, or he did last year, Charlie Brown. No, it's not Brown. This may be something that I shouldn't start off with like this. This is a really tough question and stuff like that. It's not on Wiki, so you guessed. Well, think about this then, Raymond Jacob. What would Charles Oakley's name be if it's not on Wikipedia? What is his middle name then? That's the thing. I did a lot of research on this yesterday. And let's just say that, you know what, maybe you're going in the right direction there. So I just need somebody to spell it out and they'll get the 25 points. So think about this. What is Charles Oakley's middle name? Yeah, what is it? This is a trick question. Junior. Tom Duke says it's Junior. Charles Junior Oakley. No. Oh, Paul B got the answer. Paul B got the answer. He has no middle name. Paul B, you're going to get it. Paul B, you're on the board on Raptor Freak Trivia. That's right. You just had to be a little daring. David was right behind, Isaac right after that. That's right. Charles Oakley has no middle name, y'all. I had to do that because I've been doing the middle name all along. It's like, oh, he doesn't have one. That's a good trick question. Charles Oakley is his name. He doesn't have a middle name. It's really crazy. Oh, David went to the washroom, grabbed the copy, and still almost got it. Hey, it's all good. All right, David. Yeah. All right, let's go. This is the next one. Number 2. What 2 numbers did Charles Oakley wear in his career? We know one of them very, very well. And then what was the other one he wore right at the end? What are the 2 numbers that Charles wore? Shanky is here, and Shanky is a force, picking up the 50 points for both of them. 34 is his most well-known number. That is the number he wore when he was a Raptor. But 33 was a number he wore in Houston at the end of his career. That's kind of sucks that he had to wear 34. But you know why he had to wear 34 in Houston? Because he couldn't wear 34 in Houston because of Hakeem Olajuwon. That was Olajuwon's number in Houston. So he couldn't wear 34 in Houston, so he had to wear 33. And that's the whole story with that. Omari, good to see you. Omari, I have to say, man, your team is really good. I don't understand how we let you get LeBron and Giannis. That is insane. This man's got LeBron and Giannis on his fantasy team. Oh, my gosh. Denial's like, sheesh. Shanky coming in. Yeah, Shanky's a real competitor on this. Shanky is in second in the Raptor Free Trivia, and it's coming. It's coming up. I'm telling you. All right, here we go. Here's the next question, y'all. What team in the Big Three has Charles Oakley coached since the Big Three started? What is the name of the team that Charles Oakley coaches? He's coached for 5 years now in the Big Three league. When I didn't get Scotty, I just went for the win. Well, you know what, Omari? I can't blame your strategy. Killer 3, it's Shanky once again. Shanky is a force. Shanky is overpowering, and that's good. Tom Duke saying the Knicks? No. No, it's the Big Three tournament or the Big Three league is in the summer. It runs from like June to August, and it's 3-on-3 tournaments and stuff like that. And he's had players like what was the former Raptor that he had is on his team. He had Reggie Evans on his team for a little while. You can't Google fast enough, Kareem. Kareem, I had to say, when I was reviewing the Media Day stream yesterday, you had some gems of jokes in that Media Day. I have to tell you, you had me rolling on the floor laughing, watching the replay of the Media Day and seeing what you were saying in that chat stream yesterday. You were really funny, Kareem. Some of the stuff you said was off the chain. So funny. All right, let's see. How many All-Stars did Charles Oakley get in his NBA career? How many All-Stars was he on? He was on how many All-Stars? Shanky, once again, only one. He was a role player. He wasn't really a superstar. And he got that one All-Star really early in his career. I think he was still on the Bulls when he was on the All-Star team. He may have been very early on the Knicks, but I'm not sure. Yeah, Kareem was great. Like, honestly, he was some of those lines, some of the stuff he was saying was so funny. So funny. I can't remember him off the top of my head, but I had to note that Kareem Thomas is one of the funniest Raptor freaks out there. Seriously. All right, let's see. What university did Charles Oakley attend, guys? Do you guys know what university Charles went to? It's a little bit of out of the way kind of place. Denal saying Shanky has to be a bot. Okay, Shanky's on it again. Virginia Union is right. Shanky's trying to get to the top. I'm telling you right now. If it wasn't Shanky, David would be doing this. See, David's right behind. Virginia Union University is a historically Black university in the United States. And that's where Charles went. And he's very proud of that. There's not a lot of people there. Yeah, David's right behind you. You'll get there. David will get there. I know David's gonna do well. Hey, good to see you, Kenny. Good to see you, man. All right, let's see. Next question. What was Charles Oakley's highest points for a game as a Raptor? During his 3 years with the Raptors, what was the highest points total that he got in a game? And these are gonna be a little tougher because you don't know how to Google this and stuff like that. So you guys might want to guess. Kenny knows how to figure it out. Kenny knows Charles Oakley. 23 off the top. Bam! 23 points is exactly right. Michael Jordan's number. I'm really impressed. Kenny got it on the first guess. David, 44 is a little high. 22 is close. 31 was a little high, but it's 23. He had 23 points. Kenny, wow. I wonder if you knew that off the top of your head. This is really good. All right, well, then, going along the same lines, what's the highest rebound total he got as a Toronto Raptor in his history here? Perfect guess. Well, I was going to make the clue that it has something to do with his old friend. 11's a little too low, David, for rebounds. Raymond, 15's too low. 17's too low, guys. 8 is too low. 13's too low. 12's too low. 14's too low, guys. You gotta remember, rebounders back then were insane. You got to think about Dennis Rodman. 119, that would be something. Shanky's a little high. Dizzy B's a little high. David's a little high. Raymond's a little high. Omari's high. They're all high now, guys. 18. Shanky's on it. Shanky got the magic number is 18. He got an 18 rebound game for the Raptors. 18 is the number, and Shanky's the first one in on it. Omari was right behind. David right behind also. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of Price is Right going on here. We know the regular question is going to be coming up, but there's going to be a little bit of this on this trivia today, just so you all know. All right, here's a good one. This one you guys should know. This is general NBA knowledge that just should be known by NBA heads. Who was Charles Oakley traded for to get to the Knicks from the Bulls? Who did the Knicks trade to the Bulls to get Charles Oakley? And he became a part of the championship team. No, not Marcus Camby, not Toronto. We're not talking about the Toronto trade. We're talking about the Bulls and the Knicks trade. This is very famous because it caused a lot of different things. No, not Grant, not Giannis. This is a trade that happened there we go. Omari remembers. Bill Cartwright is the answer. Bill Cartwright is the center of the early Chicago Bulls championships. And he was the one who was traded for Charles Oakley and stuff like Bill Cartwright is the right answer. Omari, I'm going to give it, even though he said Cartwright. I knew who he was talking about. Kareem, I know you wrote it out right, but all right. Well, maybe I'll give you half points there, Kareem. I'll give Kareem Thomas. I'm going to get Kareem Thomas on the board just for getting it in there and getting it spelled right. But Omari's getting points too. So both people get points. All right. Question 8. What is Oakley's career high for blocks? He did this on the Raptors. He got his career high in blocks at the same time. He's got the career high in blocks on the Raptors. 7 is too high, guys. 7's too high. 11's too high. 10's too high. 12's too high. 12's too high. 12's too high. 5 is too low. 6. David's got it. David S is getting that one. It is 6. He had 6 blocks for the Raptors in his last year with us. And that's the most he ever got in a single game. That might have been because he was playing with Keon Clark around then. Keon was all about blocking. There were a lot of shot blocks going on around then. So it's 6 shot block shots. Okay, next question. This is the kind of the reverse question of what Raymond Jacob answered just a second ago. Who did the Raptors get when they traded Oakley to Chicago when he left? What is the player that they got at that time? Not Marcus Camby. That was who we got when we traded to get him. Who did we trade before? Hey, Randolph, good to see you. Good morning, Raptor Freak Randolph Phillips. We love you, and we appreciate you coming in and saying hi. F, yeah. Davis? No, Davis is right. Okay, David Saborin saying Virgin, Brian Skinner? Do you know something about him that we don't know? That's right. David's right. It's Brian Skinner, but I didn't know he was a virgin. Brian Skinner is the right answer, though. All right, here we go. How much money did Charles Oakley make over his NBA career, guys? I want that rounded up. You had that from the other answer, and it's just still in there. That's funny. 42, that's low. 42 is low. 50 million's high. So you guys really got that little window, right? Between 42 and 50 mil. 55 is too high. 48 is too high. 80 is too high. 60 too high. 43 is too high. Okay, David's got it with 47. He got it in there first. Raymond, you're right behind him, though. David S. is getting the points. It is $47 million. That's how much he got. Okay, let me just circle some of these so I can see who got the points. All right. Next question is question number 11. What NBA team was Charles Oakley an assistant coach with? What NBA team was he assistant coach with? I want the name of the team fully. I don't want just the city. I want the name of the team all around because it's an important distinction. What team did he assistant coach for? Then he had to quit because his back hurt. He couldn't do it anymore. Shanky's got it. It's the Bobcats out of Charlotte. And of course, he got that job how and why? Because Michael Jordan ran that team. And that's who put him on that team and said, yeah, he was coaching under Paul Silas. And he coached for like a year or so. And then his back started hurting. And he's like, I can't do this anymore. So he quit. It probably had to do with his back and the knuckleheads that they were coaching at the same time. It's kind of probably both. Question number 12. What city is Charles Oakley's hometown? What is the city that he was born and raised? Charles Oakley. That is a good question. There's an interesting stuff here. Cleveland is right. I do want the state though, because there's Cleveland's all over the place, guys. So somebody give me the whole name, because that I know that that's the one. Yeah, Shanky, we'll give it to you. I know you knew that, but that it's better to be like, because there's Cleveland, Tennessee. I know there's a very famous Cleveland, Tennessee, and stuff like that. Cleveland, Ohio. And did you guys know that he's quite close with LeBron? In fact, Charles, in his book that came out earlier this season, said that he knew that LeBron was going to go to Miami way before anybody else did. That he was in the loop on LeBron's choices at that time, and he knew that he was going to the Heat and stuff like that. But yeah, he has strong connection to Cleveland. In fact, he has a lot of businesses in Cleveland that he runs there, like car wash, laundromats, nail salons, stuff like that. Yeah, in Toronto, we only know one Cleveland. Yeah. See, I grew up down south. I know Cleveland. There's a Cleveland, Georgia, too. Cleveland, Georgia. It's a very small Cleveland, but Cleveland's kind of like a name like Springfield around the states. There's Cleveland in most states. Like you can probably find a Cleveland, California somewhere too. Stuff like that. All right, Duke, good to see you, Duke. I hope you're happy with your team and know that you guys on the fantasy league, you can trade guys and do anything you want and stuff like that. If there's different things you want to do, we can always help you with knowledge and advice on how to run the teams and do the league and stuff like that. The closer we get. In fact, I might do a Thursday think tank on fantasy just a little further to answer questions about how to play. Oakley has appeared in 3 motion pictures. Can you name the 3 movies that Charles Oakley has appeared in? He's been in 2 movies as himself, and he's actually acted in a movie since he retired. He plays a role in that movie. Space Jam. That Raymond Jacob, that's right. He was in Space Jam. That's the easy one. Raymond's on the board today. I like to see that. Space Jam is definitely one of the movies that Charles Oakley was in. Yeah, because he's buddies with Michael. Of course, he's going to be in Space Jam. See, him and Michael Jordan really are very close. Omari saying Blue Chips, Space Jam, and Hustle. No, only Space Jam is correct, and Raymond's got that one already. Carter Effect? No, he's not on that one. Hey, good to see you, Bradley. Ta-da! Good morning to you. All right, we got 2 more. There's 2 more on here. This will be a little tough. Maybe you guys won't figure it out. One of them is very famous and really good movie. It's an NBA movie, and it has Billy Crystal in it. I don't know if you guys remember this movie. What's Eating Gilbert Grape is not right. He'd be funny in that movie, though. That'd be an interesting movie. That he'd be in Charlie. No, he's not in that one either. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? I'm trying to think. White Men Can't Jump? No. Biggie, I Got a Story to Tell? No. It's a basketball movie. It's about the NBA. OD, you used to call him ODB. It stars Billy Crystal as a referee is the name of I can't tell you the name of the movie, but this was it's a forgotten NBA movie. It's actually very good. It's a good movie, and a lot of NBA players are in it. Eddie's very close to what this movie is, but no, it's not Eddie. That's Forget Paris. Isaac Campbell coming in with that one. That is right. It's a Forget Paris. It is a movie about Billy Crystal being an NBA ref and his love life. It's a little bit like Sleepless in Seattle or like the one with Meg Ryan, that movie, but it's like an NBA movie. Yeah, Forget Paris. Pastor Brown's the other one. Raymond Jacobs got the other one. That's the movie he made after he retired. and he doesn't play himself. I think maybe he's like a pastor or something in that movie. I don't know. I might have to watch Pastor Brown just to see Charles Oakley's acting skills and stuff like that. The thing to me is he's kind of got a mumble mouth, like kind of like Victor Newman on Young and Restless. He doesn't speak. He's very like I don't know. I want to see how he acts. Like he's awesome. I love him so much. In fact, this next question will be part of the reason why I really, really love the guy. All right, who is the reason why Charles Oakley has turned his back on the New York Knicks nation? Who's the reason why he does not consider himself a part of the Knicks family anymore? That's very easy. Who is it? James. I want the right spelling, though. This is really important. Dolan. Okay, Shanky got it. James Dolan is exactly right. And I don't know if you guys know the history of what's going on with this right now. At this point, all right, it's so dumb. He goes to a game. He apparently he said something to James Dolan. James Dolan got really mad at him, threw him out, and made a big fuss about that. Knicks legend getting thrown out of Madison Square Garden, and then he wasn't even allowed to come back. And then they had a summit between Charles Oakley, James Dolan, Adam Silver, and Michael Jordan. The four of them got together to hash this out and make this okay. Well, they supposedly had fixed it all, and it was all fine. Charles is allowed to go to MSG. He's fine and stuff like that. But a couple months later, Charles Oakley filed a lawsuit against James Dolan for the incident. And he says he hasn't forgiven him for it. In fact, in his book that came out this year, he talks really a lot of trash about James Dolan, the New York Knicks, and all kinds of stuff. In fact, at this point, he's our nation, y'all. He's in the Toronto Raptors nation, a little bit with the Bulls nation. But in a lot of ways, his favorite city in the North America is Toronto. And that he is a part of our history and a legend for us. That, the Knicks fans can, yes, he put in 10 years and played for y'all and did a lot of good things for y'all. But James Dolan has completely screwed up the legacy of his connection and his feeling of being connected to y'all. And that he is with the Raptors way more than he is with the Knicks at this point. You can go talk to him, and he will tell you his love for Toronto fans, and the Toronto franchise over and over again. But if you bring up the Knicks, he will cuss them. He will cuss them to this day. So, and this lawsuit has not been finished. It's still ongoing. So, yeah, there you go. A little update on Charles Oakley and where he stands with the New York Knicks and where he stands with us. He's with us, baby. Yeah, he's with us. All right. And Monique's here. Good to see Monique answering. Yeah, James Dolan is the right one. Pope John Paul. What? David, that's hilarious. Does anyone remember the Raptor foot sound? Oh, I kind of remember that. Like when it like coming into the arena. Yeah, I kind of remember that. All right, next question. Shanky getting that one. Who are the two co-hosts with Oakley on his 3 OGs podcast? Who are the two other former NBA players that co-host the 3 OGs podcast with Charles Oakley? They haven't made any episodes in a year or so, but they do have a really cool podcast that I follow on YouTube that Charles is a host of with two other former NBA players. And one of them's a former Raptor that played with him on the team at that time. The other one is somebody who played with that former Raptor on another team. So the other one's going to be tougher, but one of them's easy. Charles Barkley is wrong. Charles Barkley and Oakley don't like each other. Muggsy Bogues is right. Isaac Campbell's got the Raptor. It is Muggsy who he is on there with. It's not Jalen Rose. No. Now, the other guy played in Charlotte with Muggsy, and he's not as well known. He's somebody who played for Detroit also. He was a Piston for a long, long time, and he's really not that well known. You guys are going to probably have to Google this to find his name because I don't think you're going to know it off the top of your head. Now, Isaac, if you know it, the next person, the third host of this show, I'll be very impressed because this is somebody who's from a long time ago. Who are the three hosts of the 3 OGs podcast? Charles Oakley, Tyrone Muggsy Bogues, and who's the last one, David? Who is the last host of that 3 OGs podcast? The three former NBA players that get on there and talk about NBA and different stuff like that. It's Muggsy, Charles, and who? He's very, like I said, he has no connection to the Raptors, I don't think. JJ Redick, no. Congratulations to him on getting it. There we go. Joseph Starks is coming in and getting the points. It's Earl Cureton. Earl Cureton was a Piston for a long, long time. And then he went to Charlotte with Dell. and Muggsy. And he was there in Charlotte Hornets with Dell and Muggsy there. And that's when he became good friends with Muggsy. And that's a fun podcast because you got Muggsy's personality with Charles's personality, and they are very loose and they will talk about like current NBA stuff on there. It's just they haven't done it recently. I don't know why, Muggsy. Y'all should do that podcast again. You and Charles and Earl. It's a good, fun one and stuff like that. Really good one. All right, 2 more questions, guys, and they're good ones. They're real good ones. Who famously had a gambling debt to Charles Oakley that Charles took out on the court? Yeah, he took it out on him on the court. Who famously had a gambling debt to Charles Oakley? And he said later, it's like, yeah, I punished him on the court because he owed me money. Yeah, he did. No, not Michael Jordan. I'll bet you that he did owe him money at some point, but I don't think it was like it was back and forth. Okay, Tom, I want the full name. Don't be lazy here. I need the whole name because that is a common name. I need the full name. I want the full name. You can give it to me, Tom. Give me that first name. That's wrong. Tyrone. Yeah, Tyrone Hill is see, that's what he put Grant Hill. So Tom, always don't be lazy with the answers, y'all. Give me the full one. And Tyrone Hill is right. Tom Duke's getting that one. There's Tom's points for today. We knew he's going to get on the board at some point. Tom's always good for at least one question. Y'all are right behind. That was in the series with Vince and Allen Iverson that this was getting meted out, the punishment. That famous series with Vince and him going back and forth for 50. Meanwhile, Charles is beating up Tyrone Hill on the down low while this is all going on. The scoring is distracting the refs and everybody. And meanwhile, Charles is over there clubbing him in the side. All right. Yeah, you did it, Tom. I'm proud of you. All right, this is the one question that Stevie Roots got when I practiced these questions on him over the phone yesterday. So we'll see if you guys can get this one. What big-time Hollywood movie star actress from Cleveland is best friends, BFFs, with Charles Oakley? What big-time Hollywood movie star actress who's from Cleveland is best friends forever with Charles Oakley? And they have been friends for a very long time. Nia Long is wrong. That's a very timely answer, Omari, but it's not Nia Long. It's a good guess. It's a good guess, and it's you know what, not that far off from this person, although maybe not. Beyonce, no. Raymond Jacob, no. Halle Berry, Omari's got it. It is Halle Berry. Halle Berry, if she's in trouble, somebody messing with Halle Berry, she can call Charles Oakley, and he will come and regulate for her real quick. Yeah, that's probably a good card to have up your sleeve as far as like things. If you're in trouble or something like that, call Charles. Oh, I need Oakley. Oakley's coming over. Bam, you got Charles Oakley at your door. And stuff like that. But yeah, they are very good friends, apparently, like Charles and Halle Berry. So that's pretty cool. All right, there's your Raptor Free Classic Jurassic Tuesday Trivia for this week. It looks like we got Shanky probably getting the most points today. So, David, a little bit of ground covered by Shanky trying to chase you at the top and stuff like that. But I like seeing so many different names, and it looks like we got some people on the board for the first time this week. That's fantastic. What a great media day yesterday, guys. I'm really, really proud of the Toronto Raptors and the way they came in prepared and looking fresh and looking right and professional. This is a really big deal. This does not happen blanketly across all 30 teams in the NBA. You'll have some guys wishy-washy kind of coming in. Maybe some guys come back out of shape. Maybe some guys come back a little not that happy about their current situation because they wanted to be moved in the summer and their GM couldn't trade them and stuff like that. So, and it's funny, like, how does Steve Nash, I'm going to handle a question like, how do you feel about Kevin Durant wanting you not to be the coach this summer? Yeah, these are the questions you don't want at media day. And the fact that we had a really awesome media day that really just kind of reinforced like the things we're doing, and everybody's on the same page. Everybody's real positive. Everybody's real happy to be back together, reunited and excited and hit the ground running in BC this week on training camp. This is all really, really good because they're picking up the pieces in Boston. They're half-heartedly there in Brooklyn. They're like figuring things out in Phoenix still. There's all kinds of dysfunction in different places around the league. I mean, the press conferences with Russell Westbrook yesterday, very interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening around the league from media day. It was crazy. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Go Raptors. How pumped is everyone? Very pumped, Tom. Let's see. Super pumped. David's super pumped. Love how they all wore their jerseys. And those are nice. I actually do really like how they did the Bill Russell 6. As people have said, it does really go along with the Toronto vibe of being the 6. And it looks right. Like on the other jerseys, some of them that doesn't look completely right, but they did a good job. The way they're going to honor him and stuff like that. Are really, really, really good. Yeah, and our team is jacked. I literally, David. I mean, you know that it's jacked when you're noticing it on Gary Trent. Even like, oh, sure, we know Scotty got big muscles this summer. We've been seeing him already, but seeing people like OG and Gary show up all of a sudden, and OG looks even stronger. This is really awesome. I love that little part with OG and Masai Ujiri when he's like coming in to see Masai's getting his picture taken in a little box. And it's so stylish and stuff. And OG just had to come in and check out the whole like setup because it was just so cool and stuff like that. That was a really cool little media day snippet from yesterday. And just other stuff, just fun stuff like behind the scenes and different stuff like that. Like Scotty walking out in that one clip that Monique posted on her Facebook stories yesterday, where he walks out into that lobby and there's all the people standing around. He really does look like a giant. Like he looks so big and huge and just crazy strong and stuff like that. So crazy strong, so crazy. Yeah, year number 27 for Paul Jones. Congratulations to Paul Jones, Sherman Hamilton. Well, it's year number 27 for the Raptors. It's basically this. I mean, Paul Jones has been there since very beginning. So it's kind of like at the very, very start. Tom's saying there better not be other people from Twitch at the scrimmage shouting my name. I don't think they will. Come on, Tom. I don't think that's likely. I don't think that's likely. I think you're going to be fine. And I'm really looking forward to your Friday. And I want whatever you can do to help us be a reporter on the scene. If you get a good picture of you and Scotty together, please send it to me. I will use it as a thumbnail for our stream the next day talking about it and stuff like that. But please send it to me, Tom, because I'd love to have a picture of you out there with Scotty and showing from the open practice and stuff like that. Yeah. David saying OG's best part of the summer, going for a walk. I know OG was he's so awesome. Like, listen, he's a very simple dude. Like, I totally relate with him. Like, if he's on some sort of spectrum, I'm on that spectrum with him because I'm very matter of fact in some cases. And just like I have a hard time just like sometimes with some things. So I can totally get why he's just like, well, I read a book, I went for some walks, I saw some sunsets. That sounds like a nice summer. Very simple. Keep it simple. Everybody's out there complicating their life in all kinds of ways. OG's keeping it simple. And that probably really benefits him in the long run. Let's see. Tom Duke saying, I'm going to do it. Maybe embarrassing. You'll do it, Tom. You'll be fine. He's going to hear you. Just say something. Hey, I'm Tommy Duque. If you say Tommy Duque, he might really laugh and think it's funny. I don't know. Raymond saying, if I was there, Tom, I would have a huge sign with your name on it, Tom Duke. You could do that. Just make the sign. It may be better than you just yelling it over and over again. Just have the sign or something like that. I'm sure he's going to look for you and he'll find you. Seriously, I think he will. Let's see. Dizzy B saying, I want to know what book OG read. Yeah, I want to know too. What was the book you read, OG? They asked him in the follow-up question, what book did you read? He's like, I don't remember. Wait a second. All you did all summer is read a book and you don't even remember which book it was? Oh my gosh, this dude really lives in the moment. He really lives in the moment. He already forgot what book he read this summer. I want to live that way. He's so present. He's so present. Isaac Campbell was like, it was a book about going for walks. Maybe it was like a Toronto trail guide. He's like, oh, I'm going to go for a walk. Maybe all summer people have been running into OG on walks around Toronto and we didn't even realize it because these people weren't even knowing who he was. He's like, oh, there's this tall black guy over here walking in the woods. Who is that? He's like, I don't know who he is. And they don't know who OG is. And like, but maybe he's been doing that all summer. Joseph Stark's going to be at the practice also. Listen, you guys try and find each other if you can. I know there's a few Raptor freaks are going to be showing up at the open practice. So Joe, you see if you can find Tom and see if you can link up and get a picture together or something like that. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see that. So he'll have a sign. He'll be in the corner, Joseph Starks. I know that about where Tom Duke's going to be. OG read Rapture by Nick Nurse. There you go. Maybe he did read Nick Nurse's book. That would make sense. Maybe he is reading like different people that are around the Raptors. Maybe he read Doug Smith's book, We the North. That would be a good book for him to read. Get it all honed up on the knowledge of the history of the Raptors and stuff like that. Yeah. All right, let's go literally to the open practice on Friday. Joseph Starks and Tom Duke. Let's go. Kareem saying OG makes introverts question they're really introverted. Yeah. It can make you feel like, well, you know what? Maybe I am really putting myself out there a lot more than I thought. They're on it. Awesome. I love that. And Monique's saying Lindsey Dunn with the best questions, in my opinion. I have to agree. Lindsey Dunn does it that way, though, because of City News. The way that the segments are put up on the news, she wants to have a fun, kind of light kind of thing. And she does. She is really good at picking some of the best questions. I thought she was one of the best at Media Day for sure. And it was really nice to see the debut of Samson Folk in the media scrum. And, he's going to be there all season. So we can expect to get maybe better questions from the media this year because Samson's presence is going to be there. And the other great thing is they're going to be in the locker rooms this year. So there's going to be a lot better content for us to react to and talk about on this channel. Just because the locker rooms are open, and Samson Folk is going to be one of the interviewers who's going to be on the regular there. Because, I have certain favorites among those guys. Like Josh Lewenberg is awesome. In fact, he's my favorite right now, honestly. He is the most factual, like no bullshit kind of guy. And I really appreciate that about him. Now, Grange, he gets into his own like bullshit, and he has his own like hidden motives for some of the questions he asked. In fact, he was pulling that shit yesterday a little bit. And this Toronto Sun guy, you can't fucking do anything with Mike Ganter. Ganter is going to ask pointed questions and try and pull that little thread to cause problems for the team. Also, Doug Smith has done it in the past himself, but he's pretty good for the most part. He respects, obviously, the history of the Raptors and different things like that. So I can go through these different. Eric Koreen, usually pretty good, but sometimes he can be asking some kind of messed up questions too. But my favorites really are Josh Lewenberg, Lindsey Dunn, and Samson Folk now that he's there. Orrin Weisfeld is very good also. He's been very good in the time that he's been in last year and this year also. So yeah, there's the media is getting better in some ways, but in some ways there's some jackasses there too. Like there's other like Katie's really good too. She gets in there and asks some good questions also. So all right, let's see. OG was capping about the book. He said first thing he thought was good. You know what? I think you're right. I think he was lying about actually. I don't think he may have read a book, but maybe he read a book that he didn't want everybody to know that he read. Samson asked the best questions according to Duke. I thought Duke. I thought Simpson was very good for his first one. He's going to ask good questions because he's, listen, those Raptor Republic kids that came up, Will Liu and Orrin Weisfeld and him really do have good analytical minds. And like Simpson's doing all kinds of statistical analysis and stuff like that. So he can really come from a learned place in asking good questions and ones that we want to know. I just ask these journalists to do one thing. Try not to do the little pull the thread kind of questions. I hate that shit. Like even the zombie apocalypse question by the Raptors organization that's fun, that's not a good question because it really does kind of tell us who the friendships and the alliances and the different people on the team that are friends among each other and stuff like that. Like I can tell who on the team Scotty really likes and who Scotty's not that happy, or not that he's not happy. It's just the people that aren't his favorites. Let's just put it that way. We could tell this summer from watching Rico Hines highlights with him. I can tell who are his absolute favorites. Obviously, Delano and Justin are like his best friends on the team. They really are. Chris Boucher is very close with with Scotty. And so is Gary. Gary's very close with Scotty. And, other guys are cool with him too. But there are some guys on the team that Scotty's not that keen on. I'm not going to lie. I can tell and stuff like that. But anyway, let's see. Remind me again, no more masks. Yeah, there's no more masks as of October the 1st. No more masks on planes. And the border's opening up. And that means that Kyrie can come to Toronto and play against us. Unvaxxed players will be able to come into Canada starting on October the 1st. So they really are opening everything back up, wide open completely. So yeah, no more masks on planes as of the 1st. But for right now, you still have to do it for the next couple of days. And some people will be like, why do we got to do this now? And stuff like that. But it is just Canada. It's Canada and just how we're doing it and stuff like that. It is what it is. All right. So just in recap, Canada team women's basketball in Australia has won their game against Mali. They really beat them. They're finished 4-1. This is Blake Murphy's tweets, by the way, that I'm getting the source. France lost to and Australia won. So Australia will win the group on a head-to-head tiebreaker against Canada. And this means Canada will probably play Belgium in the quarterfinals on Tuesday. And if we can beat Belgium and get to the final, maybe we'll be playing Australia, and that'll be big matchup. Bam, bam, bam. Let's go, Team Canada, and win this. Win this. Yeah. Let's see what else. Isaac saying Big Four hyped his Twitch handle during the TSN interview. That's right, he did. He did do a Twitch shout out for a second there with Kayla Gray. And that was awesome. That was awesome. I expected him to mention his Twitch at some point. I mean, they did ask a question about his Twitch activity in the media scrum. They asked him what you were on your Twitch. You said that OG's your favorite player or best player ever in the NBA. This is what he answered. It's like the question was, who do you think is the greatest player in the NBA ever? And he said OG. He didn't say Jordan. He didn't say LeBron. He said ever. Yeah. Cowboy, I will not do that deal. I won't. What is that? Come on, man. You're not getting Scotty Barnes for Yuta Watanabe in our league. All right, y'all. If you do have any fantasy questions, here's just a little tip. I'll just do a little fantasy tidbit tips here. This season, when we're playing fantasy, you're going to want to look every single day at your lineup and see who's playing. And when you put in the players on your lineup daily for the players, you want to get your positions filled that are specific, like PG, SG, SF, PF, and CC. And those other utility positions, you can fill those in as the season goes on in different ways. But you will want to adjust and bring guys in off your bench for who's playing that day. And you really want to get player games filled in at point guard and center in particular, because those are the positions you may not have as many players that are eligible on your roster to play in those positions. And you got 2 center positions. So you want to make sure you have that center position filled as much as possible. The utility positions you can get filled throughout the whole season. But it's good to prioritize the centers and the point guard and make sure that you get all 82 games filled for the whole entire season by getting players played. Because we know load management, we know injury, we know different things are going to take players away from games. But you want to that's the goal from the start of the season, get 82 games played at every single position so you maximize the amount of points and stats you can generate for your team. So there you go. Yeah. Omari's got 7 centers. I will do a deal with you possibly for one of your centers. I mean, he's got some good centers there. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying. Duke Rocks is saying reporters asked Masai what he thought the ceiling was for this year's Raps. And he said, we'll win, but held back that he's pumped for the season. The reporter then asked Fred VanVleet. Masai said, you ain't contending. You ain't contending. Listen, Masai is he's still saying be patient. He's still saying be patient. This is what he said last year at the end of the year. He said be patient. And this is him kind of holding that line. Meanwhile, Nick Nurse is saying we're going to win right now. We want to win right away, right now. So there is a little bit of a mixed message coming from the organization. As part of it is just tempering expectations, but also allowing the possibility to have amazingly incredible things to happen. And Fred said it there. He said he's going for a championship. And that is what we do. He doesn't play NBA seasons not to championship. So that's what he wants to do. And that's what we're going for. And I love that Scotty said the word championship in his interview also. That is really important, that he's looking at things like him and that he's not, I said to him on Sunday, I said, you're a superstar in the making. He wouldn't take that accolade yet, but he's willing to get ahead of himself and say, we're playing for a championship this year. So that says something. That says something right there. Masai doesn't want to mess things up. He wants us to all believe that we're on the right path, but to be patient and not get ahead of ourselves. Well, I don't mind getting a little ahead and having a vision board and saying, ooh, this is what I'd like to see. Like Fred VanVleet has a vision board, and he has a big, fat Larry O'Brien trophy right in the middle of it. And that's that we can have a vision board and aim towards something. And it can become into more and more into the realm of possibility statistically as the season goes on and how well we do and stuff like that. So congratulations, Kayla Gray, on her award also. I really love that interaction between her and Nick Nurse where he's like pulling the mic away from her and back. And like he was being a little playful there. We don't always see Nick act like that. And I thought that was hilarious. If anybody needs a center, Go talk to Amari, send him a deal and stuff like that. I'm sure he'll look at your deal. And I'm still considering. I don't know if that deal's still on the table. That LeBron deal you had for me for Scotty, LeBron for Scotty, and Scotty for LeBron and Thad Young is the deal he's sending me. Wow, I have to really think about that. Tom Duke saying Big Four is saying OG over and over. OG getting most improved this year. Another number one option dictated by point guard Scotty Dimes. Scotty A. Diamonds. Yes, Mr. Diamonds is ready to play this year. Yeah, Scotty for AD. Wait, that deal? No, I won't do that. I have no interest in having Glass Joe on my team. No offense, Omari Parsons. I will not do AD. I don't want AD on my team. He's actually on my list. I don't want him on my fantasy team or my NBA team, either one. My trade is better. Yeah, that's funny. Bradley's making a joke. It'll start on the first day of the regular season. So there's 2 games the first day, and I think it's like Boston and Philly or something like that. There's 2 games. That's the very first day, and I think it's the 12th or something like that of October. I think it's 12th. Duke saying I was pissed. The reporter lied to Fred VanVleet that Masai doesn't feel they will contend. That's not what Masai said. He kind of said he doesn't want everybody to get their hopes up and just think, because we know how Raptor fans can be. They've been really weird. In fact, there's a lot of this going on right now. This is the time of the year where the negative Raptor fans come out and just start saying, man, we're not going to be that good. Why do y'all think we're going to be so good? You guys think we're in the top 3? You're crazy. This is a little bit of the pre-battle fight between the positive Raptor fans like us and the really cynical, negative Raptor fans that say they're Raptor fans, but they're honestly usually just Toronto sports fans that are into other teams more, and they want to sewer us in some other ways. They may be Leaf fans, used to being Leaf fan, and they want to treat Leaf fan stuff on us. Or they could be actually not even fans of our team. Like there was a guy that was in the chat for the media day yesterday, Kawhi6. He was not a Raptor fan. That was a troll. That was a troll from another team that was coming in and saying all kinds of crazy asinine shit in that media day chat. If you guys were there, you know what I'm talking about. Kawhi6 was a troll. That was not a Raptor fan. In fact, some of the things that they were saying was really insulting and messed up. So we have to remember on social media, the person that's on the other side may not be who you think. In fact, sometimes they're bots. So that's what I'm saying. If we fight the good fight, and I saw I'm a Fun Guy in there going at it with Dwiz, that whole stream. And I know that they have a history from other places. And I love that Fun Guy's fighting that fight and stuff like that. And, this is going to be this time of year. There's a lot of negative nannies. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. That limit themselves in their own minds. And that's just a reflection of their own self and the way they think in their own life. So we got to keep our minds open and positive to championship coming this year. Right, this year. That's right. All-star Scotty, Pascal Siakam, All-NBA again, all defensive Scotty, all that kind of stuff. We think about it, we project it, we put it on the vision board, and boom, it happens. So we can focus this positive energy and goodness towards the team because there's a lot of people that are kind of slandering us and saying things like there's a whole lot of talk about Pascal saying he wants to be a top 5 player in the press conference yesterday. A whole lot of people trying to be like, well, we're going to bring reality to you. Some people in NBA fans think he's only top 50. They don't even think he's in the top 20 or in the top 30. They think he's top 50. So there's a lot of perception war and a lot of different things. And Pascal just needs to go out there and show them. And I'm sure he will this year. I'm not going to lie. I'm sure they will. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying. Raymond Jacobs saying, no deal. Imagine what Scotty would say to Lex if he told me traded. Yeah, I don't know. He might be impressed, actually, if I told him that I traded him to get LeBron. He might be impressed with that. He might feel pretty good about that, actually. Isaac saying, Duke Rocks, I saw that too. I hate the type of reporting that tries to create controversy where it doesn't exist. That's what I'm saying. These reporters, especially for The Sun. The Sun is a bad newspaper. It is very much in the pocket of conservatives and trying to shape different things. In fact, there's a new report out that shows an internal email about the Sun being very focused on pushing right-wing culture that's very toxic and bad. And that we need to be aware of this, that things like CNN are turning on the people and becoming more puppets and messengers for that side and trying to shape us and think in certain ways. It's not even just Fox News anymore. Every corporate media is like this to an extent. But the Toronto Sun in particular is really bad as a tabloid rag. So Mike Ganner is going to ask some bullshit questions. Michael Grange is going to ask some bullshit questions. And they really are little ones where they try and grab that little thread of the clothing and to unravel something out of it. And I just love that our guys are savvy enough to catch it. In fact, Fred calls some people on some bullshit. Oh, yeah, Fred will. In fact, he did a little bit of that about the how old you are question. He's like, I'm not old. Why do you think I think I'm old? I'm 28. That is not old. And he's exactly right. Yeah. So let's see. The way they frame the question and also kind of the way they ask it. Like if anybody's asking questions about selfish things, like your time or your stats, like the whole thing with OG and his role, that's bullshit. Because OG, they don't understand the philosophy of the Raptors and how these guys have bought in as all for one and one for all. And the stats aren't ultimately the important thing. It's the W's and getting championships. Other teams, sure, people on the Lakers are probably worried about their stats in some ways. Sure, and nets, stuff like that, but not on this team. So when you come at OG, somebody who's so selfless and not even thinking about his own stuff like that, that's why that report this summer by Jake did not make any fucking sense. Because this is not in his personality. And we got finally the confirmation that Jake was so full of shit this whole time, straight from OG's mouth. Because it just didn't line up. Like we said, we're the ones paying attention. We're the ones on the Twitch with Scotty. We're the ones really paying close attention to the Raptors. And sometimes it's not even the Canadian media that's paying as close attention as us. And definitely not the US media. So if we understand OG better than they do. So if this doesn't make sense for his character, then we shouldn't believe it. And that's the lesson we can learn from Jake's little report this summer. That we need to just stay fast and say, you know what, this doesn't make any fucking sense. 1 + 1 does not equal 4. They are adding a couple more numbers in there to make it to this point. And that's what we got proven yesterday, straight from OG's mouth and stuff like that. So let's see. Okay. I love it. We can go a little longer today because I feel like I want to talk about yesterday. I can't figure out where I am. Okay. Cowboys saying we're going to the championship. I'm going to be doing the Raptor foot dance. That's right. There was that Raptor dance a couple years ago. That was really big for a little bit. Monique saying Eric Smith sat down with Thad on professional career and being a businessman. See, there's going to be all these interviews I'm going to have to catch up on this afternoon now. And stuff like that, different people. Thad's awesome. I'm so happy Thad's on our team once again. Really big, underappreciated signing this summer that we don't talk about enough. Sure, we talk about Boucher, but Thad is another one that's really important. Let's go Raptors. Karens, I don't know where the Karens came from. Kareem saying, if I go streaking our first home game, will y'all bail me out? No, don't do this, Kareem. If you do this, you will be banned from Scotiabank Arena probably for the rest of your life. So don't do this. I highly tell you, do not do this. I mean, that'd be crazy. I don't know. I don't get why people streak. I understand in baseball, sometimes people do this shit. There's a lot of room, and maybe you got some room to maneuver, but there's nowhere to room maneuver in a basketball court. You're going to get caught right away. And, I don't know, man. I just don't think it's a good idea. Let's just put it that way. I mean, we could try and help you with a fund, but I think that we should just skip this idea all around. Maybe you could do something different. Like come hang out with us at the game and we'll get real loud. The Raptor Freak Spirit section. We'll get real loud. We're going to get real loud. Let's see. Isaac Campbell saying controversy comes in the chip. Bring it. Yeah. We're gonna overcome a lot of stuff this year. Once again, we're really just a pro team that's doing things right. And I love it. I'm really excited to hear the noise from training camp this week, and hearing what's going on and from behind the scenes and stuff. We're gonna get little snippets and hear little interviews here and there and stuff like that. We're gonna have to hear and see what's going on and stuff like that. Yeah. I've got 5 on it. Kareem Thomas's team. Look out. Get that chip. Duke is saying Masai was reserved. He said we'll win, but you could see he was holding back, predicting the team's ceiling. Just saying the reporter misrepresented what Masai said. Yeah, they do that. They really do that. For sure. You're right. Masai was just being careful with like not putting too much pressure on the team. And they read it into as like, oh, he doesn't think they're going to be that good. So stupid. It's so dumb. Why would he say we want to win like 20 times and then he's like, oh, we don't think he's going to be that good. Oh my gosh. The reasoning is just really dumb with some reporters sometimes. Cowboys saying American media is horrible. Yeah, they are in a lot of ways. Like, I don't know who to trust down there and stuff like that. Like, I really don't. Like, I get all my news politically from Bo of the Fifth Column at this point because he's the only one I trust. He's somebody like me on a YouTube that just gets a camera and talks. And I trust him more than I trust CNN at this point. So Monique is saying, I'm happy for Jalen Harris, but why Knicks? I don't mean to be crappy. Well, the Knicks needed people. And honestly, that's a kind of a compliment in some ways. The Knicks have two of our former players that weren't good enough to make our team. And that they really think that our judgment and the way we look at guys is good. So they're like, oh, well, let's try Svi. Let's try Jalen Harris out on this team and stuff like that. This just shows that they really appreciate the Raptors and who they know their stuff and stuff like that. I see what you did there, Canadian Cowboy. That's hilarious. Yeah. I got 5 on it. That I remember that song. That song's so awesome. That's an old school jam. That is an old school jam too. All right, let me see. Joseph Stark saying, I want to point out something no one is talking about. As my fellow freaks know, Fred VanVleet does not work out in the offseason. Well, I'm happy to say until now, Fred is jacked, trimmed up too. This is true, actually. Joseph Starks is right that there were some times where Fred took the summer off and he would look a little pudgier at the end of the summer, but he's not doing that anymore. And this summer, he had to do it a really careful, balanced way with like healing his knee and also putting in strength conditioning work. And we can tell he's stronger, and he says he's stronger. I believe him. It was really interesting how he talked about how he didn't pay attention to his body at the end of the year, that he's so dedicated to just trying to win and get through the season and do stuff. He put his body in a detriment by not really listening to it as closely as he should have, that he caused like maybe more to himself than he thought he did at that time. But it's good to see that he's healed up and he looks real good and strong at this point. That he feels very strong. In fact, he may be the strongest he's ever been. And this is the thing, like I said, 28 is a prime year in your career. In fact, it's early prime. He's going to have prime until like 32, maybe 33. So this is the thing. We're about to enter prime Fred VanVleet years. And I really expect him to become this crazy catch and shoot shooter for us this season, like really, really good for us. And his numbers, some people say his numbers may go down this year because Scotty emerging, but they could go up also. That's the crazy thing about a guy like Scotty. He makes everybody better. And Scotty may be able to make Freddie's numbers inflate even if he's not the primary ball handler. So there's going to be some interesting stuff to see how this all works out and stuff. But I am really glad that Fred continued to work out the whole season, some off season this year. That he hasn't done that every year. That there are often years where he will take like the first 2 months, the off season completely off and do nothing. Joseph's right. This is a history with him. Canadian Cowboy saying, I love this team. It's going to be awesome. We're going to bully teams. Yes, Cowboy. Yes. The Raptor Freak love is strong right now. This is the beautiful inertia building time of training camp for the season. And we're just going to get in there and start tinkering around. And we know who we are for the most part, but we're really going to get some of these new guys acclimated. Like Josh Jackson, DJ Wilson, Justin Champagny, Bo Cruz, you guys all got to get more and more, not Justin as much because he's been around a long time already, more and more with the system. Jackson, you get in there and get that system as quickly as possible. That is your only way to get on this team, is to prove that you can run our defensive system correctly with our guys and not make a lot of mistakes. And then you won't be dead in the zombie apocalypse right away. Because in some ways I root for the underdog, and you very much are the underdog in our training camp battle. In a lot of ways, you really are. In some ways, Joseph Stark's saying maybe we should change his name to Fred Savage. Fred Savage is not a bad nickname for Fred VanVleet. Like in the interviews, he's Fred Savage. But also Fred Savage, that name has some bad connotations at this point because Fred Savage has been a little gross as a behind the scenes director, producer kind of guy. I've heard some things about him with women that aren't too flattering. Let's just put it that way. Fred Savage is kind of half canceled for interactions with women that aren't appropriate. A little bit of that Emma Doka kind of stuff. So I don't know if we'll use Fred Savage, but maybe we can say Fred was savage in the media interview for sure. Duke saying the 2 utility positions in fantasy would be best used to acclimate where you lack in stats because you could position in those 2 slots. That's a good point. That's actually one way you could do it. Like if you're noticing, because this is the way rotisserie scores, we're all going to be ranked from 1 to 16 in each of the categories. So if you have the most blocks in the league, you're going to get 16 points for that. If you have the least, you're going to get 1. And that's how your cumulative score will be made from rotisserie. So in all the categories, you want to have, maybe there's a category you punt that you just don't care about. You say, all right, I'm not going to give a shit about turnovers because turnovers are going to happen with high usage. And if you have guys like LeBron and Giannis and Kristaps and stuff like that, like Omari does, you may be higher in turnovers than the other teams, but it may be like, I don't care about that category because I'm getting so many stats on everything else, and the other, that's what you may have to think. Now in the utility spots, you could really craft your team to specialize in one of the categories. Like you could say, I want to go heavy on blocks. So I'm going to put extra centers in my utility spots to get more in that category. And it really is kind of a reactive thing during the season. You can look and see how you're performing day to day in the standings and say, oh, well, I'm that close to Bradley's team in assists. If I go ahead and pick up another point guard and put them into the lineup, maybe I can catch him in this race for assists and get some points in that category. You look and see there's like 3 or 4 teams that are just above you in a category. And if you just increase in that stat category, you can make a leap overall in the league. Because it really is who has the most ranked points from the rankings of each of those categories. So if you're 16 points in field goal percentage, maybe you're like 3 points in field goal free throws, 6 points in three-pointers made, that's what you're going to look at, Duke. And you can really specify your strategy for how you want to try and take over the league in points by looking at that kind of stuff. I know this is the stuff that advanced fantasy players know from before, but there's a lot of new players in the league this year, and I do want to make it clear how it works so that you guys know how it goes early. Even you'll learn it, you'll see it early on, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about now and stuff like that. But that is a really good point. Those utility spaces can be used for that. And the other thing is look for guys that are out of position. Like if there's a guy who has a center positional eligibility, like Chris Boucher has center position eligibility right now, but he's really not playing like a center anymore. Like you can sometimes find guys that get you stats in other categories like point guard. Like I'm very much expecting Scotty to get point guard eligibility this season with him talking about it and the way he's going to play and stuff like that. Yahoo may in the middle of the season switch so I can start slotting him at point guard. So that could be like very helpful to me because I don't have to have a little point guard on my team. I could actually do Fission 6'9" on my team because I have Cade and Scotty on my team to play as point guard. So it's different things like that you can think about and really like personalize and craft your team over the season for what your needs are in that moment. So you may go on the waiver wire and pick up a guy just to fit for like a week so that you get more stats in one category in particular. Stuff like that. Dizzy B saying, yeah, the Raptors are so ripped. They should make a calendar. Yeah, I know. Listen, these guys are looking strong and tough. I mean, I can't believe how big Gary looked. Like he's always been a little bit skinnier and scrawnier and stuff like that. He looked like he was really strong, like really, really strong. All of them look real strong. It may be that they were in the weight room right before they come out. And they like Hans and Franz themselves up before they walked out. They're like all pumped up. I don't know. It could be. Monique saying, who saw Yuta in his new threads? Yeah, it's sad to hear, sad to see, but that team really needs Yuta. Like they need that good vibe, that good teammate kind of stuff on their team. Because Kevin looks sour already. Kevin looked sour in his media day yesterday. He looked very sour. And it was kind of funny when they asked him about wanting to get traded, how he answered that. I'm telling you, you can read so much from interviews and media day to set the tone for the whole season. And I would not be happy with media day in Boston. I wouldn't be happy with media day in Brooklyn. And I wouldn't be happy with media day in Phoenix. And I wouldn't be happy with media day in LA either to a degree. Like, I think it's hilarious. Patrick Beverley was asked, what is your favorite LeBron highlight from his 20-year career? Because LeBron's going into his 20th season in the NBA this year. And Beverly said it was the time I blocked LeBron. That's my favorite LeBron highlight. And they told LeBron, and he's like, he said that? He's insane, is what he said. So that's the kind of stuff we should expect from the Lakers. When is our egos going to be bruised by Patrick Beverly's outspokenness? I know that him and Russell Westbrook said they're cool. In fact, Patrick Beverly says Russell Westbrook's the guy on the team he likes the best. That's not totally good. Oh, man. Patrick Beverly on the Lakers is going to be such a show this year. It really is, because he's real. And these other guys are kind of like hiding superficialness around them and stuff like that. He's a real one. He's going to set them straight. Let's see. Monique saying year 14 for Serge, year 8 for Norm. I love that little interaction between Serge and Giannis. In the media day there, like Serge comes into the room, he's yelling at Giannis while he's actually up on the podium. That's hilarious. And they were talking about the Kardashians or something. I don't know what was going on there necessarily. Some people were saying this should have been in the Raptors media day, Giannis and Serge talking like this. Yeah, maybe in another alternate universe that could have happened, but it is what it is, and it's where we're at. Isaac saying Fred VanVleet is dialed in. You can tell. Prime Pascal too. These guys are such pros. Like, seriously, they smack of Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan of this generation. That these dudes really did. Pascal talking about how he worked on his game, really like tinkered around with different little things about his game. That is so DeMar DeRozan. It really is. Like, that is such a DeMar DeRozan kind of thing to do. Constantly working on his game, never settled, never satisfied with where they're at, and always working to get better and better and better in little details. And that is Pascal following the footsteps of DeMar DeRozan for sure. Patrick Douglas, good to see you. Remember, the Raptors are a professional organization, under promise and over deliver. That really is part of it. I'm sure. Yeah, I think that is a big part of why Masai was the way he was and stuff like that. If Bobby's going to do a press conference today, I'd love to see what he has to say about things and stuff like that. You know, they don't want to get out of their head and get too crazy. Now, Fred has a certain way of looking at things. He's very goal driven. So he has to set that goal right at the start of the season. Like now, he's like, well, what are you playing for? I'm playing for a championship. And let's just see how it all works out. As Fred has said before, we'll fuck around and find out. We'll fuck around with this season and find out and see how well we do and see what happens. I think we're going to be in good shape. I think that we've got a lot of good roster building, that if we do have any kind of injury problems, hopefully not, we got guys who will step in much more capably than last year and stuff like that. So I think we're in good shape. Let's see. Cowboys saying our whole team is dialed in. Really does seem like they're on the same page. The Rico Hines runs were really beneficial. I think Koloko is going to get more minutes than any of us anticipated. Hearing Siakam and Freddie speak so highly of him, Kareem saying this. There was a lot of arguing about Koloko's role on the stream in the media day yesterday. It's very interesting. I think that Kareem's right, that we're going to see him more than we think. I think that he has certain traits and skills that we don't have anybody else on this team, and that Nick is going to want to play with his new toy as far as like on the roster to try out. He's going to want to get him out there and see exactly how much he can get away with having him on the court before he fouls out. So we're going to see that. It's like I said, it's going to have to do with whether he cannot get fouls. And he may get some fouls real quick, and then he's not out there for very long. But I think you're right, Kareem. I think that the way they're talking is kind of tipping the clues that he's going to get to play more on the big team than we think. And who knows? We're going to have to see how it is. Omari saying, is Fred VanVleet one word? That's my whole team, bro. Fred VanVleet is one word. Yeah. It's so awesome. Yeah, I thought that was funny when Masai made that answer. He's like, well, what would you say to the players that are trying to make this training camp? And he would say, Fred VanVleet. It's like, wait a second. Okay, I think I get what you're saying. Yeah, because he came through and made it from where you guys are at. Yeah, I agree, Kareem. Good competition for Precious. I think it will make him better, but watch out. Loco Coloco is coming. Bradley's got a vested interest since he's on his team, his fantasy team. And yeah, I think Coloco, I don't know. It's so hard to gauge. Out of all the Raptors, he's the one I do not understand exactly what's going to happen with him. Really don't want to make a complete prediction. I think, honestly, my best guess is he's going to be a lot like Delano, like last year. He will get the same kind of amount of run as Delano. He'll probably play the same as him last year. Let's see. Duke is saying, my first time doing fantasy, would appreciate it if you did a podcast from a strategy point of view, so we're all on the same page. Well, all right, we'll do this on a Thursday. How about that? We'll do a Thursday Think Tank fantasy workshop. In fact, we can go in and you guys can talk specifically about your teams and any questions. So get it kind of organized in your head. If there's anything you do want to know for the beginning players, some of the newer players that are playing, if you have anything that you want to know at all, I will lay it out all on you. I will tell you unlock all the secrets of Yahoo Fantasy and the different things you can do on there as far as like the different pages and things like that. So let's do this. We'll do this week. We'll do a Thursday Think Tank fantasy workshop, and I'll really teach you guys how to play fantasy basketball on Yahoo and stuff like that. So definitely show up for that one, Duke. And we'll do it Thursday morning. Yeah. Cowboys saying same, Duke. Yeah. All you guys come in. I know Adriana and other people, even Monique, will want to know more about the interface and things like that, and tips and strategies for how to maximize your team and get the best out. Because I want this to be a competitive league. A lot of teams, like what happens is sometimes the owners will just like go dead on the team and they'll just let it ride. And that's not the way to win the league. You do have to be active and kind of switching your team around a bit. And there's nothing wrong if you don't want to invest that much time and just letting it ride, but you won't collect all the 82 games and stuff like that. So there's different things like that I can teach you guys and stuff like that. So Joe Stark saying at Mari, I think Masai meant one man, not one word, Freudian slip. Yeah, they could be that. I think that, yeah, Fred VanVleet could be one word. I mean, if we just really like, I don't know, maybe not. I mean, now that OG's putting periods in his name, this is something that does not make sense. I'm going to tell you, this is actually just adds to OG's weirdness that he wants us to put dots in his name now, because his middle name does not start with a G. Blake Murphy, I'll give him the credit, has rightfully pointed out on Twitter last night after OG made this request that this is not grammatically correct what OG's asking us to do. His name is Agua Gua, and his OG is from that name. His middle name does not start with a G. So I guess to the rules of like maybe English or something like that, it's not right, because it would imply that his first name starts with O and his middle name starts with G, which is not the case. So that's part of the reason why people have been doing the OG without the dots. But now he wants us to do them with the dots. I'm going to follow it and say, yeah, we'll do them with the dots. This is your name. This is what you want. We're going to do it. Although it doesn't make sense grammatically. Whatever you want, OG, we'll do it. We'll do it. Monique saying, what are your thoughts on Pascal saying being top players go deep dive and please? All right. I love that Pascal said this. And in some ways, I'm like, we had this discussion on Sunday night with Scotty. We were talking about Pascal and how good he is. And some people were saying, what do you think, Scotty? What do you think he is? Is he top 30? Is he top 20, top 15, top 10? I told Scotty, I think Pascal's top 10. I literally said that to Scotty on Sunday night. I said, I think Pascal's the top 10 NBA player right now. And Scotty read out loud. He said, oh, you think Pascal's top 10 player? Okay. He said it kind of like that way. But, who knows? Pascal came in, doubled down. He said, I want to be a top 5 player. Yeah, that he wants to go do this. I would not think that he won't be successful, because he's got a lot of the tools right now as being an overpowering offensive player that can go get his stuff whenever he wants. He's like water that goes through the cracks, as I've said. He can get there and he'll get a basket, and he's getting so good. And if he's fine-tuning like DeMar DeRozan has done over his long career, he's going to get even better this year and look even better. And the thing is, he may get more attention for his defensive stuff on the other end. That's what he really needs to get more attention on, to become more looked at as maybe possibly a top 5 player in this league. Statistically, if he can do it, if he can make himself look efficient and just have a badass stat line that everybody's like, look, we got to compare him to this, to this, to this. He's better than Jalen Brown. He's better than Brandon Ingram. We look at the stats and stuff like that's where he's got to do the wage the war. Is he's really got to be statistically in the top 5. And then he'll get some people backing him up. But even then, he's got to beat past the power of perception and the bias against him in all kinds of ways, whether it's that he plays for Toronto, whether he's from Cameroon, whether it's just like he's been slighted for so long. He's maybe the most underrated player in this league. And Let's see. Let's go get it. I mean, people were pointing out yesterday, it's crazy that he has one All-Star appearance, but he has two All-NBAs. Like, does that make any sense? He's only been on the All-Star team once, but he's been on All-NBA twice. That's weird. That is a little weird in some ways. So, all right, let me keep going. Joseph Stark saying, I think we can all, hang on, jumped. I think we can all agree Pascal is already a top 8 player. He is just going to get the accolades this year. Finally, he's already proved it to us. Go Raps. Yeah, I hope so. I really, really hope that Pascal opens more eyes and really gets more of the due that he's deserving of. And it really will be consistent, overpowering play over and over again throughout the season. That in past years, he's had dud games here and there where he does not do well. He's not, just doesn't have it that night. Well, he needs to have it every single night and really show it every single night. And that'll get him there. Duke Rock's saying, I think Fred is happy we drafted Koloko, easy assist. Like I said, all these guys are fitting like gloves, whether it's Otto Porter, whether it's Rico Hines, Koloko being from the same city as Pascal, and how much he's so bonded with Fred already. Fred and Koloko is going to be really special. Really, really easy assist. You're right. Kareem saying, just a reminder, waiver wire is Wednesday. Make all your pickups and drops before then. That's my only fantasy tip. I'll charge for more tips and tricks. Kareem, actually, I'm glad you mentioned this. I wasn't even sure because I do have a waiver put in. This is something you can do right now, y'all. We've got 2 trades already in the works with Greg in his trade where he's trading Luka to Kalua and getting Jason Tatum and Tyler Hero in exchange. And I made a trade with Monique and Adriana to get Draymond Green for Alex Caruso. Now, you can go and get on the waiver wire and find anybody you want to get and go ahead and make a waiver claim now. And if you're interested in wondering what the waiver claim line is, I know Kareem was asking this. It is in the standings. It'll show your priority. If you're number 1, that's the person who picked last is Cool Cat, has the number 1 waiver priority right now. So the first person, David, has 16th priority for waiver wire. So that means if Cool Cat wants the same player as you, they're going to get them when that comes up and stuff like that. So you can go and look at the waiver wire and put in a claim on the waivers. And as Kareem said, this is all going to go down tomorrow. So, that's something you could do to start with your team today and stuff. I appreciate the tip, Kareem, but now you're going to have to pay. It's going to be a little extra. It's the Fantasy Plus on Yahoo at this point from Kareem Thomas. So, but I'm going to be free the whole time. So don't worry. Don't worry. I can give you the tips still, even if Kareem's being a miser. All right. See, Isaac Campbell saying, exactly, Mo. Hearing Pascal saying this publicly is healthy and speaks to his headspace. Really rooting for him to reclaim all-star respect with a most improved or MVP as ceiling. Well, he's already won most improved player, so I don't think he'll win that again. But I'd like to hear him be in the debate for MVP for sure this season. Now, if the Raptors are like the number 1 team in the East for most of the season, and he is obviously our figurehead number 1 guy, he should be in the talks for MVP. I'm sorry, NBA. You cannot ignore the Raptors sitting at the top of the Eastern Conference standings like you did in 2020 this year. If we do it again this year, you need to give us respect. And you need to start talking about how Pascal Siakam may be an MVP candidate in this season coming up, especially if we're up near the top. If we're like 2 or 1 or 2 in the Eastern Conference and y'all think we're going to be 8, and we're up there at the top most of this year, y'all need to start talking about him as being an MVP candidate. I'm sorry. It's just how it has to be. All right, let's keep going. Joseph Stark saying, in the meantime, anyone who has fantasy questions should leave the question in Raptor Free comments. That way you can prepare your answers. Yeah, we can do it that way, or I can do it on the fly. I know my knowledge of this stuff is really, really deep. In fact, it's weird doing this league with you guys. It's kind of opened up an old brain that I had from before that I haven't been using because I haven't played fantasy sports in about 8 years. So I'm kind of getting back on the bike after not being on it for a while. So Cowboys saying, I think Koloko will get at least 30 to 40% at the center position in the beginning, then at least 50 by midseason. Nick Nurse has a plan for this guy. It's going to shock people. I hope we could see that. I mean, that's a little fast, I think. And those percentages are a little high. I would say maybe he's going to get like 10 to 20% of the game with the possibility of getting 30% of the game down the end. I don't see him playing that much like that. It really is when he's going to get in foul trouble. He gets 2 fouls, he's going to go to the bench. And then he may not get back into games just because other guys are doing so well that he just doesn't get back into the mix. This kind of happens with our team, is that all of a sudden, Precious is just going off and stuff like that. And boom, certain guys just don't get back into the game by the end of the game. And that's what I think is going to hinder him. He's going to get foul trouble in games, and then he's going to be an afterthought because things are going to be going so well for us otherwise. But then again, he may be brought in situationally later because we really need like a taco fall on an inbounds pass, it's that kind of thing. Like he can guard an inbounds pass probably pretty good with like all that length and stuff like that. So I don't know. We'll see, Bradley. We'll see where the percentages are in different ways and stuff like that. Let's see. Kareem saying at a Cowboy, I agree. The offense and defense will be so much more dynamic with his rim protection and rim running skills. Yeah. I'm so excited about this. I want to see him get some crazy blocks. And the blocks we're really going to enjoy, and Raptor fans are going to be like opening their eyes to, like average Raptor fans that don't really know who he is coming in, are going to be the blocks from behind. They're going to really impress people. Because what's going to happen is Coloco's going to get beat by the guy he's trying to guard, and he's going to reach over their shoulder and block the shot, like without fouling the guy because his arm's so long. And everybody's going to be like, whoa, wait a second. What did he just do? He's going to do this a few times, and everybody's going to be like, holy crap. Because it's going to be a weird thing where the person thinks they beat him, and they didn't beat him. He makes it up with just his length, his arms extended. He's like, bam, he smacks it out. It's going to be awesome. I fully expect that to happen a lot this season here and there where he gets beat, but he still gets a block because he catches up. It's so crazy. Let's see. Duke saying 100% to Duke Rocks. I'm pumped to see him. Coloco is really going to be fun. Cowboys wanted Coloco the whole time in the drafted. Yeah, we had to work that out with Cool Cat. I appreciate Cool Cat working it all out nicely and stuff like that. And I think Cool Cat got some really good centers in his instead of him. Like Thomas Bryant is going to be good for them. For the Lakers. And of course, Kevon Looney is really the center for the champion Warriors at this point. So she got some good centers in his place and stuff like that. So I love that you guys are interacting. Let's see. Monique saying, Lex, I know your seat section is 300, but you can send the actual number. And if you're not sitting there, let me know. We're going to figure this out, Monique. As we get into October, I was really going to try and get through some of the preseason games. And then like a couple days before the game against Chicago, we're going to get it all figured out, the meeting place for that game to like hook up and just hang out. And, we're going to try and sit together if we can. We'll figure it out. Like maybe we could even come and hang out with you in your section over there. Who knows? I don't know. We'll have to figure out and see what we can test and get away with in the first preseason game against Chicago at Scotty Bank Arena. But we'll get on the same page about all this, and we'll make sure we link up. I know Sue says she's going to be there. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if David and Peter got tickets, but there's different people that are wanting to hook up and be there. I think Evelyn's coming too. So hopefully we'll have a bit of the group and maybe some of the people that were at the meet and greet all together at the first game against Chicago. So if you guys are going to the Chicago preseason game, let us know and we'll all get together and we'll have a force in the building. Like I'm serious. I would like us to go there like we are on this channel and get real loud and real positive for the team and be like this, maybe a little bit rowdy spirit squad kind of cheering section for the Raptors this year. Because if we could do this kind of stuff regularly and maybe get this going, we could maybe be that thing for the team. Because we don't really have this in some ways, an organized fan group that comes to the games and gets loud. And maybe we could start this. This could be the Raptor Freaks cult thing, is coming to the games and doing this. So if we all are coming, let's get this army together and let's do it. It's going to be fun. Because I know y'all will be loud with me. I know y'all will, because y'all are real ones. We are real ones. I know y'all will get loud with me. All right, let's see. Cowboy saying, but I'm glad I got him on fantasy team. I wanted him bad and was scared I wasn't going to get him. Thanks, Lex, for straightening it out. Well, I'm glad you got him too, Bradley. I remember you were talking big time about him at the meet and greet. You were very much high on Coloco at that time, even then. Duke Rock's saying Siakam should have made it last year's All-Stars, but since it was in Cleveland, they gave it to Allen. Cleveland was ahead of us in the standings at that time. Yeah, those are pretty much the two reasons why. But in hindsight, it doesn't make any sense. Jared Allen is not more of an all-star than Pascal Siakam. I'm sorry. He just isn't. And even LaMelo, that was dumb replacement also. I didn't think that LaMelo should have been a replacement on that team either. That Pascal maybe should have taken LaMelo Ball's spot. Joseph Stark saying, I'll trade you NBA Chev, Warwick Report, and 4 first rounds for Raptors Freak. Yes, that's value right there. And like I said, guys, thanks for representing Raptor Freak Cult in the Media Day Scrum chat yesterday on the Raptors chat. That was really awesome. I felt good in my heart to see my name getting put up there with NBA Chev, the Raptors Digest kids, and Amateur Hour, and all those different entities like us out there and stuff like that. That really warmed my heart to see Shane Waters, Tom Duke, everybody, all you guys in there standing up and saying something about the channel here. Isaac Campbell, I saw you too. Yeah, that was awesome. Let's see. I appreciate that deal. I mean, I think that you might be fleecing them, but who knows? All right, let's see. Canadian Cowboy saying, yeah, Dookie's top 5 in my book. I want him to be top 5. I was saying top 10. I would be happy with him being top 10, like I told Scotty. But if Pascal wants to be top 5, you go do that, Pascal. You want to be top 5, you go do that. I'm all about that. Patrick Douglas saying, in this crazy world, Raptors basketball is what's going to keep us sane and joyful. I know that is really weird. It's kind of is like a weird dystopian sci-fi movie from the 80s where everybody's just like focused on this basketball game and they're not even looking at the rest of their like dumpster fire life. It's like, yeah, I think I can see this in some ways, what Patrick's saying here. Duke Rocks is saying Siakam thinks he can be top 5. The media went wild with that prediction. Siakam has jumps every year, and even though he's 27, he hasn't reached his ceiling. I know that's the crazy thing. People think like, how's he going to be top 5? How can that be possible? Well, he has made jumps every year on the down low. We just have to pay really close attention, and then you'll see the jumps that he's been doing and stuff like that. It's totally true. All right, let's see. Monique saying, can someone explain why Stephen A. Smith so pissed off at Malika Andrews? She's a great reporter. Okay, and then Joseph Stark's follow-up on it is saying Stephen A. was saying everyone in the story, male and female, should be held accountable, and Malika's perspective is the woman should be protected. Yeah, well, okay, this is a kind of a weird argument right now among this whole M.A. Adoka situation. We've seen it in this own chat here that people think it should be fair, that if he's getting punished, that the lady should get punished also. But like I tried to describe last week during all this, it's a power thing and that it's not the same kind of thing. And she's right. He's not right in this situation. Stephen A. Smith's actually really out of pocket and wrong with this opinion. He's been right on a lot of stuff recently. And I have been agreeing with him on a lot of stuff, especially the Brett Favre thing, that take he had about this. But he's wrong on this one. And she's right. And she's the one who's standing up for what's right. But a lot of people are slamming her and telling her she's out of place. And this is kind of like what's happening is like society and men kind of telling her to get back in the kitchen on this situation. That's what Stephen A. Smith's doing. And I think that's wrong. She's exactly right on this. This woman needs to be protected in this situation. She's not in the public eye. M.A. Adoka is. He has way more responsibilities and stuff like that. That's the thing. You get that prestige of being the head coach of the Boston Celtics, you get that position, all that stuff. It comes with a lot of things. And that means having a public life and having your shit on blast. And the person that did the other part of this did not get into that guaranteed agreement with their job. They're supposed to be just a nobody working in the organization. And that's part of it. They're not supposed to be a public figure. But besides that, the most important reason is for protection. She's already outed. They know who she is. And in some ways, her life's in danger because of that. And that's the thing that Stephen A. Smith's not getting. He's being very misogynist in his thinking on this. I'm going to be honest. He's being very misogynist. Because people will say, well, if you want equal rights, everything to be fair, the treatment should be fair. Well, this is not equal because it's not equal relationship. This is a person that had power over her, and there's a lot of ugly details we haven't heard yet from this whole thing. In fact, I'm remembering something that I should have paid more attention to earlier this summer in Scotty's Twitch. Somebody came in there, or maybe it was in our chat or something, and somebody said that Udoka was in trouble and that he was going to be leaving the team. And it sounded so far-fetched at that time because it was right after the finals, and everybody was like saying that Boston's going to be number one in the Eastern Conference, maybe number one in the whole entire league. Well, somebody said in the chat, I think it was either Scotty's or here, and they made this. I'm saying, man, this sounds so crazy. I didn't believe it at the time, but I remember now somebody did actually call out and say that he was being investigated and that he's in big trouble. And this was somebody saying this in like June. So this has been on the boiler, boiling over slowly but surely for the whole summer. So that's interesting to me. But this is Stephen A. Smith's wrong on this take. She's right, but ESPN's taking her side. I'm taking his side, and she's kind of getting dissed for this, and that's not right. She's actually right in this situation. She really is. David, I'm glad to hear that you guys are working on getting tickets to the game. I hope you guys get in. Just let me know. Cowboys saying, I mean, the real NBA draft, I was jumping around my TV just like that when we picked Scotty and OG. Bradley's getting joy from our fantasy draft. I love that. Yeah. Let's see. I agree with the Raptors Colts section. I just think it would be fun. Why not we do this? Other fans, nations of other teams have this going on already, and the Raptors don't have this. We have pretty much everything else going on around in different places and stuff like that. Yeah, I love Chev too. You know what? Listen, I would take a one-on-one straight up trade and stuff like that. Chev for me, that'd be awesome. That would mean a lot. Everybody's talking about on that stream yesterday about seeing Chev's face. I saw Chev's face a long time ago, watching him like for a long time now. He used to do all of his videos with his face appearing and stuff like that. We have a connection, Chev and I. In fact, Chris Sports Corner and I have this connection also. All three of us have a connection, and that's Tallahassee. These dudes all lived in Tallahassee just like I did. We're Tallahassee guys. Like Chev went to Tallahassee Community College, and he's lived in Tallahassee. And Chris is from Tallahassee also. So it's kind of weird and bizarre that we've got NBA Chev, Raptor Stan in New York City. We got Chris's Sports Corner, Raptor Stan in LA. And then we got me in Toronto, Raptor Stan. And all three of us have a Tallahassee connection. That is so cool and awesome in some ways. This actually does kind of speak to Tallahassee and how it is, as far as with like, there's like a lot of people that go into the movies industry from Tallahassee. There's a lot of people that get involved in entertainment and writing in Hollywood and different things like that from Tallahassee. So there's broadcasting talent coming out of Tallahassee, baby. NBA Chev and Chris's Sports Corner, and I'm one of those people from there too. So. All right, let's see. Duke Rocks is saying when Chev started talking about going to TCC, I was like, man, I went to TCC. It's like he went to Tallahassee Community College. That's awesome. All right, Duke Rocks is saying Koloko was my choice as well. Did a couple of fist pumps and shout out was pumped as well. Yeah, it was really nice to get Koloko in the draft this summer. That when we took him, it just fits so nice. I'm really happy. I feel like in the years to come, we're going to feel really grateful that he fell out of the first round and that we got him in the second round. Like I said, people are going to say, how the hell did the Raptors get Christian Koloko in the second round in 2022? This is something they're going to say 5 years from now. They're going to be like, how the hell? How did they do this? It's like the Raptors Raptor in again, just like they did with Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam. There they go, Raptor in again, Christian Koloko, second round pick who plays like he should have been maybe a lottery pick. I'm going to tell you that right now. He may look like he should have been a lottery pick in a couple years from now. I'm not lying. He gets a little more weight on him, and he really starts showing stuff. Look out. All right, let's see. Tom Duke saying, I was spreading the wrong time you were going live. Fake news. I saw that, Tom. I switched it so many times that I didn't know how to do it. In fact, I thought about going in there in the live with you guys during the media day, but I was like, no, I want to make this surprise. So I stayed out of it just so I could have my real reaction on my stream and stuff like that. Omari's saying Warwick and Raptors Digest and Amateur Hour are garbage. I saw that the Raptors Digest kid was in there kind of interacting with you guys yesterday in there. I haven't really watched Warwick. I have watched Raptors Digest. I've watched a little bit of Amateur Hour. Stuff like that. But Omari's saying, how is she married to an employee? She's a serial work dater. All right, this is the thing. I think this is what happened is, all right, there's two ways this could have happened. It could be that they were already married and had an established marriage before either one of them worked there, and they both got hired, and they just happened to be a couple that was already married before, met each other, had that established, and came into the organization together as a married couple, just working in separate departments. Because we know married people can work in the same company. It may be that they didn't meet while they were working at Boston, that they actually were together for a while. The other way that it could have happened is this, and this is where I think it happened. I think he worked for the Boston Celtics originally but he doesn't work for them anymore. And he left the company, and she came and worked for them afterwards. And she's the only one who currently works for them. I don't think he works for them anymore. I don't know all this. This is me speculating, but I think these are the two ways that it could work out. That's how they could be working there together at the same time and stuff like that. So Monique's saying, now that Scotty Barnes won't be on Twitch, what you gonna do now, Lex? Well, in some ways it's liberating because I really have had a little bit of a tether to my Yahoo Mail and getting that bat signal for when he's going to show up and just show up. In fact, I was still watching for him last night just in case, but I shouldn't have been because obviously he was on a plane and he was on his way out there and very, very busy. And he's going to be very busy. But I fully expect him, if he's going to be on again soon, it'll be on Saturday night. That it'll be when they travel to Edmonton on Saturday, and he may be very bored in a hotel room in Edmonton, Alberta on Saturday night. And that may be when he gets on there and does some playing, but maybe not because he wants to be ready for the game. I don't know. We're going to have to see when Scotty's going to jump back on again, but he is going to be back on during the season. Now, I don't expect him to Twitch after games when they lose. I really hope he doesn't. That would not be smart. And I don't know when he's going to actually Twitch, like when he will pick times to Twitch. We'll have to see what his Twitch behavior will be like during the regular season. They may not be as often, and they may be very specifically tied to how they're doing with the team. Like if the team lost, I don't think he's going to get on Twitch. I think that he's going to just stay away from being on there. And he's also got to worry and wonder about like events that happen in NBA games. And then he gets on Twitch later after the game, and maybe he has to talk about what happened in the game and stuff like that with us. That could be really fun, but it could also be a possibility for a dumpster fire and stuff like that. So I'm really wondering how he's going to walk this tightrope of twitching during the season while the season's going on. I really want to see how he behaves as far as like what he'll say and when he does it and stuff like that. But we'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do with my time, Monique. You're right. I'm going to be doing more studying of what the Raptors are doing and stuff like that, writing more trivia, stuff like that. All right, let's see. David's saying, Omar, you're right. Like Pensair basketball. Pensair, they're not that good either. I don't know. There's different ones. I know that you guys have different favorites and stuff like that. I really appreciate that you guys are with me. Like, seriously, I know there's so many different choices out there. And I may not be the most polished, but I'm definitely the most real. That's for sure. And stuff like that. I may come off as some weird middle-aged dude and stuff like that, but I really come by this honestly, that this is preordained for me, that I was supposed to be the Raptor freak since 95, and that I've really just grown into this finally having the technology and the ability to do this through YouTube is just lined up, and finally this is able to happen. You know, that I have a platform where I can actually get to people. This wasn't always the case and stuff. And this is the right time to do it and stuff like that. But I do really appreciate that you guys are here with me and stuff like that. Let's see. Chev is really good. I love Chev. Pensair is good too. Let's go Raptor Freaks. Raptor Report and Jubstown are legit too. And of course, Logical Raptors Freak. That's right. We're getting all our names in, the family and stuff like that. Guys, I used to go on To The Point, T.O. To The Point with Skip and the King. And I finally realized that Skip is really a Boston Celtics fan, acting like a Raptors fan. I'm telling you, he is. He will talk up the Celtics every which way. In fact, I wanted to kind of know what Skip's saying about what happened in Boston this past week and how he's probably turning it to their favor somehow or something like that. Skip, you are a Boston fan. You need to get in reality with yourself and just realize you're a Boston fan. And maybe you need to do a Boston channel and not a Raptors channel, because you being a Raptors channel is not good. In fact, the last time I showed up on their content was the last time I probably will, because I almost cussed Skip out just for some of the things he was saying on the show. I love the King, though. The King's a great dude. He's a cool dude. I like the King, but Skip's, I don't like Skip. And then there's also Confederacy of Dunks. I don't know if you guys know Confederacy of Dunks. They're a good friend of mine. Freddie Rivas and Matt Duncan is his producer. I've been a guest on that show quite a few times, actually. And I'm actually kind of expecting him to ask me to be on that show again. Freddie, if you see this stream, you should put me back on Confederacy of Dunks just so I can talk about Scotty's Twitch with you guys. Because in some ways, I am the foremost Scotty Twitch expert from the summer. And you might want to have me on just to talk from that aspect and world of things and stuff like that. But they should have me on. They're on Raptors Republic now. So they're getting a little bit more attention, stuff like that. But that's a fun, lighthearted podcast, Confederacy of Dunks. And, of course, talking Raptors. one of my favorite all-time Raptor content things of anything. You guys have not listened to Talking Raptors, do it. Nick and Barry Taylor are so funny. Nick Reynoldson is one of the funniest comedians in Toronto the last few years. He's just amazing. And their show is so awesome. Like Talking Raptors is another one I highly recommend and stuff like that. So yeah. All right, let's see. Duke Rocks is saying Chev also wanted Koloko. He predicted the Raps would draft him 1 month before the draft. So that's one thing Chev does. He really is an oracle. He will predict stuff and say stuff ahead of time. I do a little bit of that, but I'm not in that same kind of way. Like he's really is kind of a shit talker, like build up the team kind of thing. Like he's Chev. I could do my impression of Chev, and you'd be like, "Oh my gosh!" He's like, he's laughs a lot, and then he'll be just like, "Oh, they fucked up. Oh, you fucked up. You fucked up when you did this." And you say like, you start talking about the other team, and then we start talking about how we're coming and we're gonna do this, and like this is what's gonna happen. This I love Chev for that because he brings that New York style of talking shit and like getting a little bit of like, because see, listen, this is the thing. I'm not the normal Canadian. I have a very much raised in Tallahassee, Florida, that makes me very Southern and American in some ways. And that makes me more outspoken and not as like, Canadian people are nice people. And sometimes they get in this personality where you can be very outspoken and kind of have an edge. Is like, that's why in some ways Chev is so interesting, is because he's got that New York edge, but he's a Toronto fan and stuff like that. So that's the thing. We're a little edgy as Raptor fans in the Raptor group, also because of our Americanism in some way. So it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. But I love Chev. Chev is such a huge hero to me, and I'm on the same side with him in all kinds of battles. And I will always recommend him stuff. I wonder if he knows who I am, or if he's even seen me once. If you guys go in there and mention me, maybe he'll check me out, and maybe he might be like, "Oh, this guy's one of me too," and stuff like that. Let's see. Cowboys talking about the real draft. Yeah, I'm sure you were overjoyed both drafts. I love Scotty claiming he was from Mississauga. It really is Caleb Houston. That's why. Caleb's from Mississauga. He told him, "I'm a Mississauga man." He's like, "Well, I'm gonna be Mississauga man with you, honorary Mississauga man." I wonder how Brampton feels. Chris's sports corner is, man. Chris has good intentions. I like Chris. Chris is just doing his thing. I know he's come in here and he's dealt with us a few times and talked with us and been around. You know what? I don't want to poo-poo anybody who's making content at this time. There's different levels of quality, sure, and stuff like that. I'm probably somewhere in there. But I just say I want to encourage everybody in what they're doing. If they enjoy doing it and they're having a good time, go do it. That's what I say, because I have to say it to myself every day. I really do sometimes. All right, see, I can't believe that the NBA let us get Koloko. I know. It's almost like they really fucked up. They really did. It's almost like how we fucked up and let Omari get both the captains of the All-Star teams from the last couple of years, LeBron and Giannis, on the same team. That is insane. That is insane. That is so insane. All right, let's see. Scotty Maple Syrup Barnes. Scottier Diamonds, Scotty Bank Arena. Yeah, Big Four. We got all these nicknames coming up for him. I'm not about Scotty Too Hottie. Everybody who's saying Scotty Too Hottie, that's kind of dumb. And then there's like Scotland Barnes. There's like all kinds of crazy like nicknames coming out and stuff. He's rejected quite a few on his stream. He has. He's kind of like, no. People are coming in there trying to give him nicknames, and it's just going to naturally happen. I think Scotty Diamonds is going to end up being something just because he's used it on his 2K as his name for his 2K player, Scotty Diamonds, Scottier Diamonds. So that may be coming. Diamonds is maybe the name. Let's see. Duke saying, don't want to jinx it, but can you imagine if Koloko growth mirrors Siakam? Both start playing at a later age. Who knows? I mean, that's the thing. We're talking about Pascal following the footsteps of DeMar. Who do you think he's going to follow the footsteps of? Koloko. He's going to follow the footsteps of Pascal. So if he rubs off on him the way he works, the way he's always pushing to get better and stuff like that, that's not a bad thing. That is part of our culture. Culture on other teams isn't as hardworking. Let's put it that way. There's other teams that don't do everything like this, all for one, one for all, working so hard together to get someplace together. Some of these guys do it selfishly, just for themselves. Maybe because they're in a positional battle on their own team. They're like, I got to beat this person so I can get more minutes than them. There's all kinds of selfish reasons why you could be doing things instead of thinking, I want to make myself better for my team. And some people are thinking that way. Some people are thinking, I want to make myself better so I can get a bigger bag the next time that comes around, stuff like that. Yeah, it's going to happen. I think it will happen, guys. that Pascal's going to be a huge mentor for Koloko. And you get the feeling that Pascal relishes this opportunity to be like a big brother towards him this season and really teaching him the NBA and stuff like that. Yeah. It's my laugh that kills you. Awesome, Omari. That's awesome. Well, listen, I'm glad that you guys really do enjoy my channel. It's awesome. Talking Raptors is great. Like, they're hilarious. Like, they did like the handsome rankings or something like that. They were doing chicken sandwich rankings one season where they were like ranking the sandwiches around Toronto and stuff like that, trying them and stuff. It's a little bit of extra stuff and stuff like that. All right, let's see. I would do that impression of Chev's laugh. But I haven't listened to him like over a year, like since I started this channel. So I haven't heard it recently. But I don't know. Is that pretty good? I think that's about right. From what I remember, I mean, oh my gosh, he's so awesome. He'll laugh for like 5 minutes on his content. It's hilarious. Kareem saying, I like you and Chev because you're not all about the stats and analytics. You guys choose an avenue to discuss through heart and passion. I appreciate that. This is great feedback. Like, honestly, this is what I want to double down on my strengths, passion and insight. Like, this is the thing. Him and I are old heads. We really have a love for old school basketball. Like, Chev talks about the 90s basketball of like the Bulls versus the Knicks versus the Heat and stuff like that. And I am very much from that place also. And that we're students of the game from that aspect. And sure, we could do X's and O's. We could get really statistical. I'll talk about stats. I don't mind doing that. But really is about like philosophy of basketball and like what wins and paying attention to what wins for so long. You can understand that. And I love that about Chev. Like, we do have a lot in common in a lot of different ways, but I'm not trying to rip him off. I'm very much my own self, but man, like I'm really enjoying talking about this in some ways because I haven't, I really miss watching Chev and to a degree, but once again, I don't want to rip him off. I want to be able to say, I don't watch Chev right now. I do fully support and say everybody should watch him, but I don't want to echo him too much. And I may sound like him sometimes just because we would be saying the same thing anyway. So, yeah, that's awesome. David's saying, I like any Raptor fan that is American. They see our team for what it really is, and they respect the franchise. It's true. Like, it's funny. Like, I had this weird thing that happened with one of my best friends in Florida, my friend Terry. His oldest son is a huge Raptors fan. And his family is Golden State. They're actually from that area, the Bay Area, and they're all huge Warriors fans in his family. Well, he wanted to be kind of like Scotty with John French and kind of be annoying and say, I'm going to root for the team against y'all. And I like Alexi. I like Lex. So I'm going to root for his team, the Raptors. So he became a Raptor fan before the championship, like years ago as a kid. And he is stuck and rode with us. And he lives in Tallahassee. He has no reason to be a Raptor fan other than me, really. And I love that he's a Raptor fan and that he kind of like threw it in their face when they beat Golden State. His family was funny. His dad was like, he's pretty hardcore Warriors fan. And his uncle really is. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's weird because like Chev, that's part of why we love Chev so much. Because his story is very telling. It's like he was a Knicks fan for years and years and years, and he just threw his hands up. And he said, fuck this fucking team. It was like, I'm going with the Raptors. I just saw stuff that I really identify with and I really respect and appreciate about what they just did in the bubble against Boston. He started rooting for us because of defeat. Even he didn't even start rooting for us during the championship. He got on board a year after the championship. It was during the bubble when Chev fell in love with the Raptors and said, I'm going with the Raptors. And he hasn't looked back. In fact, he's one of the best supporters and stands for us at this point on social media anywhere and stuff like that. I love that about him. Like, he comes from a very honest place of, I'm sick of my team being so dysfunctional and I hate feeling this pain. I want to feel good again. So I'm going to go and get somewhere where I know I can feel good. And he picked the right one, baby, because this team will help you feel good. Just like we're saying in here, the whole world could be burning down all around us, but the Raptors are fantastic. Yes. Woo. We'll just focus on that. I can really see like this weird thing happening over the next couple of years where we're just solely focused on the Raptors while the whole world is just burning down. And we're just like, yes, we're so happy because we're winning still. And everything else is bad. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's interesting, David. And it really does kind of show that also they're kind of like free thinkers because they're being told not to like us down there. They're being told that why we're so shitty and stuff like that. Well, these are people that can read between the lines and maybe kind of see how bullshit U.S. media is towards the Raptors. And they're like, no, we're not going to listen to them. We're going to root for the Raptors, even though they tell us we shouldn't. And we're losers for doing it. There is something about that you do respect. And the people that show up to the games in Raptor jerseys in every single arena around this NBA, those are who we're talking about. And David's talking about right now. A lot of respect for them. And they do get grief. Trust me. When I was going to Florida State and I was a student in university in the mid 90s, when the Raptors were very much an expansion team, winning only 18 to 20 games a year, I wore Raptors gears on campus at Florida State and people would laugh at me. They would laugh at me. They would say, what the fuck are you wearing? What team is this? These South Florida kids, Miami Heat fans would be telling me, like, what team is this? Is this a World Football League? They thought the Raptors played with the Manchester Machine, the Barcelona Dragons, and all those World Football League teams from back then around the mid-90s. They're like, Raptors, is that World Football? I'm like, no, this is the NBA. We're in the NBA. You're in the NBA? I've never heard of them. You can imagine the grief I got as a Raptors fan living in Tallahassee, Florida in 1996. Yeah, it sucked, honestly, because I went to the Bay the day we got the team, like we didn't have any players. And I went to the Bay at Queen and Young. And I went in there and I bought a bunch of Raptor stuff right away. I bought a hat and I bought a shirt and a couple other things. And I started wearing and representing Raptors right away. And I was made fun of so many different ways for like the first 7 years of our franchise's existence. It really wasn't until Vince showed up and started doing good things for us. Even then, we were still a joke. Like people would talk shit about us even then and stuff like that. So I went through the fire with this. And it is not easy to be a Raptors fan in the United States. I'm not going to lie. You get laughed at. You really do. Let's see. Raymond Jacobs saying Alex should start getting guests to come chat live, split screen interviews. Yeah. Ooh, if I could figure this out, if I could do stuff like this, I'd totally do all kinds of stuff. I can't even figure out how to watch stuff with the little box, like to do reactions yet. I really have a learning curve technology wise with this channel that I need to start going towards. I hope Greg can help me with some of this stuff. In fact, in the future, if I can partner with Greg more and more, because he really has some strengths that I have weaknesses in and stuff like that, that would be fantastic because Greg can really help me. In fact, if I go anywhere with anything, I'm going to ask Greg to come with me because I'd like to, I'm going to need the help. I'm going to need Monique's help too. I'd like to have her help me too. Let's see. Omari's saying Scotty is the future. He's definitely in the future. He's the big future, big four future. It is a good idea, Raymond. I do think that's a good idea. It's something I kind of thought about before. I know Samson Folk's done a lot of these interviews with different fan bases, different teams this summer. He was going around talking to different team experts about the other teams and stuff. Really good series. Fantastic series by Samson Folk this summer. Let's see. Raptor fan, meaning YouTuber. Yeah, I mean, all right, let's see. I'm glad you drafted the best player in the NBA. Mari saying I had to get the heartbreak chicken sandwich from that. Yeah, you heard the Talking Raptors guys talk about it, and you're like, you heard it actually worked. Omari went and got the chicken sandwich that they said was one of the best, and that is true. Yeah, they wouldn't go to Chick-fil-A. They didn't go to Burger King either, but I forget their rankings exactly. This was like 2 years ago when they did this one. Joseph Stark saying, with the signing of all these bench players and releasing fee with no cap reduction, I believe we are currently in the luxury tax, aren't we? I don't know. I was looking at ESPN has on their page right now. They have a thing that has all of the team's training camp situations. In fact, it's got they've got like things like who's on 10 day, who's on exhibit 10, who's on non-guaranteed, who's partial, and the position. It's really funny. The Raptors depth chart that they put has Gary Trent as our only shooting guard. And once again, the ESPN writer writes, the Raptors have a huge weakness on their team. They do not have any guards. guards. They have tons of forwards, and they did get some more centers this summer, but they still have a glaring weakness at guard. Do we? They try to say we only have Fred, Gary, and Malachi at guard, and Jeff Dowden. They said we have 4 guards. And they said, well, how is that going to work with Fred VanVleet getting hurt? And when he's not there, they have no guard depth. Well, maybe because our guards are forwards, and that Scotty Barnes should be on the depth chart for being a guard. In fact, you could put Fred over there on the shooting guard list also, and maybe put Scotty, Delano, Malachi, Jeff Dowden in the point guard category, and put Fred over there with Gary, and bring OG over from small forward and put him in that shooting guard category also. You could do all kinds of different ways, but ESPN once again trying to say we have a deficiency, and it's a guard, and they think the only shooting guard we have right now is Gary Trent. They have no idea what we're doing is basically what's going on there. But that's a really interesting article on ESPN right now that has all 30 teams training camp situations. And you can kind of see who's going to make the teams in different places. Like, I don't think Jalen Harris is going to be on the Knicks this year, guys. I don't think he's going to make the team, but I could be wrong. Who knows? We'll see. Utah's another one. He's not guaranteed for sure to be on the Nets, but he probably will make it. He's the one I think he'll make it. All right, Cowboys saying later, y'all. Have a great day. Ta-da for all your carpet cleaning, window cleaning, house remodeling, anything you need around the house, a little bit of painting, call the Brothers Tada. They're in the book here in the 416 in Toronto. Brothers Tada will help you out. They'll come over and help you out. All right, later. Godspeed, Canuck Cowboy. That's right. I love it. Peace out, cowboy. He's a cowboy on a steel horse he'll ride, 'cause he's wanted to clean the carpet. Sorry. Ta-da. All right, let's go. Patrick Douglas said, you're real simply because, as you said, we're free thinkers. It so happens that our worldview coincides around politics, life, and politics. That's the thing, man. Everybody said, why do you get political on your channel? Why do you cuss? Well, because I've heard that people that cuss are usually very honest. And that is true. That you can find people that cuss are usually pretty honest people, like Charles Oakley and myself. Well, also, that's the thing. People say, why do you get political? Well, in this day and age, you cannot afford to not be a political person. In fact, people that say, I don't want to get political or something like that, stop standing on the sidelines. There's a war. There's a fight. There's a culture war. There's a war that's going on between two sides. And nobody can afford to be not political at this point. That you need to pick a side and say something about what you care about, because the future is in jeopardy. And if we don't do it now, we're going to have people after us that are going to be wishing we had. Is what I'm saying, stuff like that. So I appreciate that, Patrick Douglas and stuff like that. And why be fake? That's why I couldn't work. I couldn't do what Samson's doing. I wish I could be there for media day, but I'm too unpolished. I'm too much off the chain with some of the things I might say. In fact, and it's past my time anyway. I mean, I'm gonna be 50 soon and stuff like that. I'll do this. This is my niche and this is my thing. But there was a point in time where I could have been like Orrin Weisfeld, a young man that was in that room with them. And I'm kind of mad in some ways, because Doug Smith said recently that, back when he started writing about the Raptors, nobody wanted the job. They all wanted to write about hockey. All the sports people in the sports media here wanted to cover hockey or baseball. They did not want to cover the Raptors. And then maybe the opportunity for me to cover the Raptors early on was very much there, and I didn't realize it as much as I should have. But then again, also, the avenues on the internet, like things like YouTube like this, weren't really there also at this time, around 25 years ago, stuff like that. So let's see. Samson was at Media Day. Yeah, I thought it was cool. He's going to have the credential this year, and it's such a great thing. Like, honestly, we're going to get some good questions asked by Mr. Folk, and I'm very appreciative that he is a part of the media scrum now. So let's see. Monique saying Nick Nurse had so much high praise for Rico Hines. Love hearing it yesterday. And by the way, first episode of Raptors Today is out. Yeah, watch the Raptors Today with Paul Jones and Sherman Hamilton reacting. Paul Jones said my same line about if you played a drinking game about Masai Ujiri saying the word win, you would get very drunk. And that's right. Paul Jones said that. That's like one of the first things he said on Raptors Today yesterday. Yeah, and I like what Nick Nurse said about Rico Hines. I don't want to downplay that Nick Nurse isn't a motivator, because he definitely is. He can definitely get in guys' ears and yell at them and motivate them. But it's not necessarily his strongest suit. In fact, in some ways, he's a laid back coach. He's a very laid back kind of like let the dudes do their thing, very understanding. Well, in some ways, you need somebody that might light a fire under their asses, like Rico Hines. If he notices that they're not working as hard as they should be in practice, I'll bet you Rico's going to be that kind of guy that's going to say, "What are y'all doing here? You're wasting our time. We're doing on this road trip. Get up and down the court." He just start yelling at him. And I think that's a good addition. I think Rico's going to be really awesome day to day for the Raptors. If we've seen anything from the Rico Hines runs over the years, he is somebody that's going to be very much an awesome part of our organization going forward and stuff like that. So I love that. And David's laughing. All right, I'm at 2 hours. Wow, I did a 2-hour Tuesday. That's all good. All right, guys, I appreciate it, y'all. Raptor Freak Tuesday Trivia, Charles Oakley. Good job, guys. Got a lot of different people getting points. I'll put up the standings shortly after I calculate everybody's points and stuff like that. And tomorrow we'll do it'll be a whatever Wednesday. I'm not sure what we'll talk about, but Thursday Think Tank, we'll definitely do a fantasy sports workshop. So be ready for that. And any questions that you might have, like, go and check out the league some more and see the stuff about the waiver wire that Kareem was talking about and things like that. And get more oriented around the interface with the Yahoo Fantasy basketball page. And if you have any questions about any of the stuff on there, I could even show you some of the stuff that day that is make it more of a tool that you can use for research and little hints and stuff like that. I will tell you my proprietary knowledge. I don't care. I want you guys to be good fantasy basketball players so that you not just play in our league, you can go win any league that you go play in, stuff like that. So we'll be doing a workshop on that. Let's go Raptors. Thank you, Monique, Superfan Monique, for being here as always. And I appreciate all of you. Good job on the trivia today. Go Team Canada women's basketball. Keep going. Good job winning against Mali this morning and stuff like that. All right, see you guys tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and let's go Raptors. We got such a good team on its way, baby. They're on their way to BC, and they're going to be training all week hard. And Tom Duke, you're going to see Big Four on Friday. I know you will. Let's go Raptors, baby. Yeah.